Leche. 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 Get 'em, Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting nippy up the crack and we stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated public sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Wednesday, December 14th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Big show today. 3 games in NHL. Then we'll move on to NBA. We'll be joined by It's Darryl. Our guy, Darryl, is running real nice. He got off to a tough start here. He got off to a 2-8 start here on the show. And he has climbed out of that. Since then, he is 10-6. 10-6. And I know that the winners will keep rolling. And then we have DabyCab, who's had a great start to the season in NCAA basketball. We have 10 games in NCAA that we are breaking down. I know it's not a huge card in NCAA, but we're not hitting all of those games. But we're hitting some fun ones. We start with Stephen F. Austin at Louisiana Tech. We have DePaul, Duquesne, South Carolina, UAB, Ohio, Florida, App State, Wake Forest, UCF, Ole Miss, UCLA, Maryland, Western Kentucky, Louisville, and New Mexico State, St. Mary's. And we close up with the DGen special 11 p.m. Eastern spot, Long Beach State, USC Trojans, last game on the day. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We got Fap Win in the house, man. Fap Win delivers winners on this show. What's he got? 2-game parlay today. Moorhead State team total under 62.5, and Minnesota team to score first. The Wild to score first. I'm looking forward to break down the 3 games in NHL. We had a pretty good week last week in NHL. Pretty good, just under 5 units up, and now we're down 0.75 units. I was so focused on NFL yesterday, and with no buys, 16 games cap, it was a lot of effort and work had to be put into it, and I didn't get to bang out the NHL card. It's too bad because it would have been a good day, but that's okay. It's okay. We just do what we can. And I know that the winners will come in NHL. I told you how important it is for me to succeed in NHL. We remember we started out 0-7, down 7.77 units. So we're 39-41, 48.8% down, 0.75 units. ROI minus 0.94%. And average lines plus 105. And there's some spots that I like on the board, but I haven't moved on them. Sammy Comer ready to get to work. There's Ryan Mueller, Viper MB, Mike M, Star Pimp Slap play today, Bo Jackson, Mike Wilkerson. Mike Wilkerson has a move. He's looking at Zion here. Zion over 27. Oh, last night. Sorry, Zion over 27. That was so disrespectful last night. Sorry. It's been a long morning. Jarek White ready to get to work. What up, RVD 420? There's Nasty Nate in the house. Our guy, and I'll wait till we have more people here live with us. But Nasty Nate, his son is doing a fundraiser, and for his son's doing a fundraiser for his high school basketball team, and we would like to get our guys involved, the Low Bag family involved. I'm going to put his links up here, and I'll do it again at another point during the show. But this is the link to the fundraiser for Nasty Nate's son's team, and if you can help out anything at all. We're a fam here. We look out for each other. So there it is. It's popped up in the chat. Coin ready to get to work. What up, Coin? Pimp Slap play today. Cashes again. 9 of last 10, Mike. You're just running hot, buddy. Control your vessel, Rodney M. What a great group. Serious business. And Slatsy says, Jimmy, would you know where I could find a capper? Yes. I am him. He is I. Slatsy, it felt really good to go 8-0. It felt really good. I've made 5 bets on the NFL slate thus far, and I'm quite confident. I'm not sitting. I don't have a tiny bit of that defeatist energy that I sometimes have when I'm coming off a perfect week. It's late in the year. The lines are sharp. to go 8-0 last week, fucking feels good, man. And I expect to really finish the season strong. So I'm excited. There's our guy Clint Starr, the diehard MMA podcast, says it was glorious to watch Ovi hit 800 with a hat trick last night. Hit the 35-1 from pull-off. Whoa, Jesus. Wow. And yes, UFC Vegas 66, last fight of the year. And we have another look from our guy. Let's copy and paste that. Wow, 35-1 on the hat trick. That's incredible. Yeah, he's just been a joy to watch. We're very, very fortunate to be able to watch him over the years because he does it all. Kadesh ready to go. Sammy Calmer has Magic +3 locked in. They're playing some good basketball right now. Stimmy OG ready to get to work. Rocco Rogers. My pleasure, Nate. My pleasure. And we'll hit it again. We'll hit it again today as well. And thank you guys. If you can support Nate, support it. It means a ton to us. It means a ton to us that we look out for each other. B-Lab, I have a 200 on them to hit the quarters, 200 on them to hit the semis, 200 on them to hit the finals, and 200 on them to win outright. So I'm already up a K and another K if they win it all. No, not a huge amount, but it's been a very, very good week, and I haven't had one for a while. It was just a huge week. I had a unit and a half on the Niners first half and full game, and then I go 8-0, plus taking my dad's action on the Dolphins and not sending it in. Then we went 3-0 on the Monday night live bet stream with live action, and then we have Argentina putting money in our pockets. So it's been a successful 7 or 8 days as I can remember, and it feels good because we work really hard at this. Slatsy saying Dylan Larkin out tonight. Let's get right into NHL. Let's get right into NHL. We're going to be moving into NBA second. We should be in NBA in about 16 minutes. I have it set for 11:25. But the most important thing is thank you guys so much for joining us. There's Von Polo in the house, Elliot V, Sky Dragon. All right, let's get to work in the NHL. Now, straight up, I want the under in all 3 of these games. But there is some questionable goaltending. The game with the least amount of questionable goaltending is the first one, Canadiens Senators. And I would prefer to have a 6.5. I would prefer to have that. The 6 right now, under 6 at +110 is appealing. But I'd prefer a 6.5. I don't mind if it's a little juiced. That'd be my preference. Rodney Barton, thank you for the kind words. Sammy, let's go. So we'll start with the line history. Again, I don't care about the cash with the small amount of tickets that are in NHL. So I don't know if it's even worth discussing. Maybe a little bit on some totals. Ottawa opening up at -189. They're now -199. And I don't know how they are with the injuries to Stutzla. We already saw what happened with Norris, and we'll discuss the injury issues. Cole Caulfield, we thought might be hurt for the Habs. He's not. Now they have their own injury issues. A lot of these teams playing today have injury issues. This total opened up at 6.5 at Penny, and there's been a move to the over at 6.5. It's actually gone back to the under, though, over the last hour and a half. But since the opening line, there's been a 2-cent move to the over. And I'm still waiting for Bet365 to put up the 6.5. They haven't done that, but now that under at 6 is +110, and that is legitimately appealing. Slati says I would prefer Alan Montembeault. Has looked shaky lately. He has. Real Deal Prime says value on the Habs tonight. I agree completely. Let's discuss it. Canadiens are at 14, 12-2, 7-5-2 on the road. They've been a good road team, and that wasn't what I was expecting. Remember, I did say at one point earlier in the year that that's where we want to fade them. I was wrong about that. Senators 12, 14-2, 7-8-0 at home at the Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa, Ontario. It looks like Sammy Montembeault is listed, and he got off to a great start. He's really fallen off of late. 5-2-2, 2.97 goals against average, 908 save percentage. Cam Talbot is a goaltender that I believe in. And I know that we have, Terry, who watched him play, over and over and over again, who does not believe in him. And Terry would know Talbot much better than I would. And Terry does not believe in him. But that doesn't stop me from believing in him and believing that Bill Guerin made a mistake keeping Marc-Andre Fleury and letting Talbot go. And you knew they were screwed in the playoffs when he decided to go with Marc-Andre Fleury. I don't believe it was the right message to the dressing room. And regardless, one thing is, though, obviously, I'm not privy to his character. There's a reason why Jameis Winston is not playing a quarterback. And I don't think it's all skill-based. And that could be here with Talbot. Montreal power play 14.4%, penalty killing 80.8%. Ottawa power play at 27.4%, penalty killing at 78.6%. Watch that power play drop with the Stützle injury, although we still don't know the extent of that injury. Montreal comes in off their second win in 3 games, 2-1 shootout victory at home over Calgary on Monday night. So Caulfield got hit hard by Trevor Lewis. I like Trevor Lewis. And it appeared that we were going to be dealing with a concussion protocol situation, but that's not the case. He didn't take part in the optional practice in Brassard yesterday. This is fun when these two teams play each other because, the Habs take the train into Ottawa. It's just, that's fucking cool. Old school, cool shit, man. And so Druin, who cares? He's missed the last 12 games with an upper body injury. He was on the ice. And Montembeault was on the ice yesterday as well to try to get in some extra action here. But Druin is close. He's listed as day-to-day. Mike Matheson is also listed as day-to-day, but he did not travel with the team to Ottawa, so he's going to miss his second straight game. That's a big loss for them. They're already out without David Savard and Sean Monahan. Each will be out 2 to 3 weeks. Savard's already missed 3 games. Monahan's missed 2. Brendan Gallagher's missed the last 5 games with a lower body injury. He skated by himself in the optional practice, and he will be out for at least 2 more weeks. Ottawa comes in off their second straight win, 3-0 at home over Anaheim on Tuesday night. They're on a 6-2-1 run, and they've been doing it with defense. And that's all well and good. But what the hell happens when you take Stützle off that first line that's been awesome, and the power play's been awesome with Stützle, but you take him off that first line with Tkachuk and Drew, then what? So there's something wrong with his upper body, his arm, shoulder. We're going to figure out what it is exactly. And also, Tyler Mott got hurt in that Ducks game as well. So neither playing tonight. We know that. Stützle, 10 goals, 17 assists in 28 games. I have him in the hockey pool. I watch him closely. I have Brady Tkachuk as well. And when Josh Norris went down, I was a little surprised that it was Stützle who was the man to play center and not Giroux. And now it looks like Shane Pinto is going to have to take on even more responsibility. Shane Pinto is not ready to be the team's number 1 center. So they could move Giroux back to center. But obviously there's a reason why people want him on the wing. And does he have the defensive accountability, to be a center and to win faceoffs? And that's obviously the issue here. So DeBrincat and Batherson and Pinto were starting to look better. They were starting to look better. And DJ Smith has said already publicly that he doesn't want to break up that group because they're looking better. So you have Derek Brassard. He's the first choice. You have Kastelik. You have Dylan Gambrell. You have Rourke Chartier, who they just brought up from Belleville. We'll ask Mr. Gokster about him when he joins us tomorrow. So there's Swiss Horton in the house. What's happening, Swiss? RVD says DraftKings have a 6.5 right now. It's beautiful. If you can bet the under 6.5, I would bet it. DJ Smith has talked constantly about the defense being the reason why they've gone 6-2-1. And now he's talked about it even more because there's no way they can replace Stützle's offense. In saying that, I don't know how we don't take Montreal here. It's just such a juicy price. I mean, it's just so juicy. It's just so juicy. I don't know how we don't do it. I just feel like we have to. You're just getting such a big price that you just. You could say the Habs have enough injuries. Look, I don't trust the Habs, but at plus 175, how do we not take a shot with them? How do we not take a shot when we know that Ottawa's unlikely? Now I guess the other thing we can do, of course, is then if we don't want to do that, we could just take a look at the Ottawa's team total. And why don't we just take a look at that here quickly? Ottawa team total. So, you're getting a big plus line at under 3. I mean, that's very appealing. Very, very appealing with a huge plus line at under 3. I mean, I guess that's what I should focus on. Turnsey in the house has his buddy Braden joining us. Braden, what's happening? Welcome, man. We have a really fun show today. Just 3 games in NHL. I know you're a buddy of Turnsey, then you love the pucks, but just 3 games here. But great to have you, and thank you for joining us. So, Rocco Rogers says, I don't understand the money coming on. Well, let's not worry about the money. Really, it's such a small amount of tickets here in the morning in NHL. So, if I don't want to trust Montreal, then I can just take the Senators team total under. Sens team total under, as well as, and I think I do that. I really do. Really want to trust the Habs here now without Matheson. I mean, Savard's not been very good this year, but this is tricky. So, okay, look, I'm moving on this game after the show, whether it be just focusing on the unders with the under 6.5 and the Sens team total under. Maybe I do that. Kate Pine says, how about a Habs first period? And Elliot V saying, I don't trust the Habs at all right now. Look, I think that was a pretty impressive win over Calgary, on Monday. I know that Elias Lindholm was out of the lineup for the Flames, but there's razor sharp picks in the house running nice. First official Swiss Horton play today is the Habs puck line and the Wild money line at plus 135. I will copy and paste that for you and pay attention to it for you, Swiss Horton, your first official play of the day. So I end up with just the Sens team total under and the under 6.5. That's a pretty that's a bigger investment than I'd probably like to make on the under, but the reward is too big. And I have interest in the Habs. I really do. This first game without Stützle, I really do. And look who the Senators just beat. I mean, Anaheim. Well, look at Anaheim last night in Toronto. They lose 7-0. So, God, I guess, you know what? Maybe I hammer all 3 bets in this game and just fucking sweat it out with a bottle. And Sati says he can't trust Sammy Montembeault. I get that. All right, so let's move on. So I'm moving on. I'll be invested in this hockey game. I would prefer not to have $600 on it. So I'd prefer not to have 3 bets. I do believe, though, that the Habs are live, regardless of the 6-2-1 run that the Senators are on. Okay, let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern, Detroit Red Wings, 13-9-6, 6-4-3 on the road at Minnesota Wild, 15-11-2, 8-6-1 at home. Xcel Energy Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. Alex Nedeljkovic has been absolutely atrocious this year. 2-4-2, 4.09 goals against average, 880 save percentage. Sadly, he'll be between the pipes as this is the second half of a back-to-back. Marc-Andre Fleury on the other side for the Wild has not been good this year. 10-7-1, 3.05 goals against average, 895 save percentage, 1 shutout. Turnsey looking at that team total over 2.5 for the Wings. Detroit power play at 20.8%, penalty killing 78.8%. Minnesota power play at 25%, penalty killing at 79%. We'll take a look at the line history here in this one. And look, with Detroit on the second half of this back-to-back and dealing with the amount of injuries that they're dealing with, clearly Minnesota is the play here. But the markets know that. The markets aren't idiots. I was not surprised to see a minus 260. Or maybe I was a little surprised to see it so high. But they know the situation and Detroit being beat up. They don't, not only that, but Ole Mata is sick, and he's been so good. He's not expected back until the weekend, by the way. Also, Mark Piszczek and Robert Hagg, 2 other defensemen, are also out of the lineup. Then you lose your captain and first-line center, Dylan Larkin. He's out until at least the weekend. Tyler Bertuzzi has been out for a while. Philip Zadina, Matt Luff also out of the lineup. That's a ton of injuries. They've lost 3 straight. That 1-0 setback at home to the Hurricanes. Look, they're fighting and they're trying. Wild coming off their second straight win, 2-1 at home over Edmonton on Tuesday night. We're still waiting to see when Ryan Hartman will return. It should happen at any minute. Coin saying Gustafsson is confirmed in net for Minnesota. That makes sense. He was very good in that Canucks game. The Canucks were very bad in that 3-0 loss, but Gustafsson, that makes a ton of sense to me. Thank you for mentioning that, Coin. Spenny says Nedeljkovic, no thanks. Look, I don't want Minnesota at this price against the Detroit Red Wings team that's just, at least putting in a ton of effort. So this is a no move. Again, I would, if it wasn't Nedeljkovic, I'd be all over this under. And those of you guys cashed with the Detroit Carolina under last night was a gift. So I don't want anything to do with this hockey game. The only thing you could do is take Minnesota -1.5 if you trust them enough, and I don't. So let's move on to the 10 p.m. game here. Vancouver Canucks 12-13-3, 7-6-2 on the road at the Calgary Flames, 13-11-5, 10-5-1 at home. We're at Scotiabank Saddledome, Calgary, Alberta. Spencer Martin is so bad. It's so hard to watch this Vancouver Canucks hockey team. It's so painful. It's so fucking painful. Spencer Martin's trash. He's 8-3-1 because of such a great forward group, and that forward group got completely shut down against Minnesota, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But 3.45 goals against average, 891 save percentage, no shutouts for Spencer Martin. Markstrom is starting to play a little better, 8-7-3, 2.81 goals against average, 897 save percentage. Vladar will take his job if he doesn't. Vancouver power play at 27.3%. It's the only thing that they are elite at. Penalty killing 68.2%. It's atrocious. Calgary power play at 20.2%. Penalty killing 81.4%. Take a look at the line history here in this one. We have these knuckleheads opening up at +135. They're now at +157. From a total perspective, it opened up at 6.5 as a pick'em. There's now been a move to the under, and it dropped to 6 for a little bit at Pinnacle. Spenny says Bo Horvat looks like he's going to cry while talking to the media about if he's going to get traded or not, just messing with them and the team. Seems like it. Yeah. Yes, Lindholm and Viger, they're both we don't know the extent of the upper body injury for Lindholm. And, you missed the Habs game. Michael Backlund replaced him on the top line. I agree that it's extremely important to find that out. Yeah, Sammy Comer, this Flames team is not very good. They're better than their record indicates. And they have every possibility to, improve as the season goes on. But I do not trust their defense. I don't trust their goaltending. They have a pretty defensively accountable forward group that's capable of scoring and playing tough. So you got something there. But back to the Canucks here. They got their 3-game winning streak snapped at 3-0 loss home to Minnesota on Saturday night. Gustafsson had a 35 save shutout. The Canucks were terrible. I put that game on TV, and I wish I hadn't. It threw me into I was pretty angry. It was just awful. The JT Miller giveaway that led to Connor Dewar's shorthanded goal was just it was so frustrating. Now they could possibly get Tanner Pearson and both defensemen Travis Dermott and Tucker Pullman back. Elias Pettersson is sick. He's questionable. I imagine that this line move towards Calgary is either saying that Lindholm is in or Pettersson is out. Tanev took a puck in the face. He's dealing with a suspected concussion, and Mackenzie Weegar is sick. So there are issues here that you need to know. First off, let's say Pettersson is out. And then if you have Pettersson out for the Canucks and Tanev, Weegar, and Lindholm out for the Flames, I think the Canucks are probably live. I think they're probably live here. I don't care that Pettersson and his fucking toddler shoulders isn't out on the ice, although he's looked pretty good this year, and he looks pretty good in between Mikheyev and Kuzmenko. So I guess talking it out now that if all 4 of these players are out, I may move on the Canucks. It'll be a sold-out Saddledome, and there's a healthy rivalry between these two teams, and I expect the Canucks' best effort after that shit show against Minnesota. Remember, they had a 3-game winning streak going into that loss, and that was fucking atrocious. So, Spenny saying both teams to score first period. I think that the Calgary Flames are going to have a great difficulty scoring. They're not an offensive team, and now they don't have Lindholm. You have to have Backlund, on your top line. So if Lindholm is out for an extended period of time, if Calgary doesn't have Tanev or Mackenzie Weegar, because remember, my idea when you're missing 2 of your top 4 defensemen is there's less scoring. There's less off. Not that you'll get scored on more, but there'll be less risk taking. There'll be less pinching. Slatsy says Pettersson left practice on Sunday with illness. Might be good. Elliott taking a shot with Vancouver money line. Vancouver first period. I get it. I'm gonna keep an eye out on the injury situation here. For the Wings and Wild, I guess the Wild -1.5 should probably be in play. The more I look at Nedeljkovic, and now that Gustafsson is in off of that shutout, and the Red Wings are so beat up. Let's just we're gonna go into NBA right now, but let's just take a look at the line combinations for the Red Wings right now with the injuries that they're facing. And then we'll move on to NBA and kind of put a bow on the NHL breakdown here. So you have P.S. Suter centering that first line with Perron and Raymond, Kubalik, Rasmussen, and Sunkvist on the second line. You have Kopp with Soderblom and Ernie. It's a bad. I fucking think that I think that the Minnesota Wild -1.5 is the play here. I know Detroit has heart, and that was a tough loss, but give me the puck line with no Vig against Nedeljkovic. I hate saying it, but I think it's the play. Wild -1.5. We know Detroit's going to play hard. It's a touch and go there. I'm going to be all over this Habs Senators game. I told you guys last week to bet the Avalanche unders night in and night out, and they've cashed. Every single game has gone under. Every single game has gone under since Nate McKinnon went down. I have a similar sentiment with the Senators losing Stützle. It's not. It's different. When you have Cale Makar on the Avs, and that the best defenseman that people have seen since Bobby Orr, you know that they're going to. That the Avs are going to make smart plays and get outlet passes. Now, Shabbat's back for Ottawa, so you can expect the same thing there. Christopher Comentini, the Red Wings play hard, man. Turnsey says Makar has been struggling. I don't believe he has been, Turnsey. You take all these superstars off the ice. Now, nice they got Lehkonen back, but you take their best players off the ice. You take Landeskog and McKinnon off the ice, and look, you're just not going to put up the points that you did last year. You're just not going to look as good. Your plus minus not going to look as good. Nothing's going to look as good. So I just think this is a tough. He's got a weak group of forwards in front of him, and that makes his game more difficult, personally. All right, so there we go. Scarminati, what's happening? Let's have a great day. So I'm all over the Sens Habs game. I'm not entirely sure how to bet it. I guess I could take $50 off my unit size, make $150 bets, and take Sens team total under, the under 6.5 in the Habs. Maybe that's the way to do it. I'll have to figure that out. Then I am going to take the Wild -1.5. Nedeljkovic is absolute trash. And when he plays good for 20 or 25 minutes before he buckles. And you have no Larkin and no Bertuzzi. It sucks because I've got the Red Wings to make the playoffs at a huge plus number, and I've got their over point total, and this is going to be a tough little run for them. And who knows, Ryan Hartman could return tonight for the Wild. Sharpie says only 62 days until pitchers and catchers report. And then Canucks Flames. If they're missing Lindholm, Tanev, and Weegar, even if Weegar's back, let's say they're missing Lindholm and Tanev, then yes, I think that there's worth a bet on the Vancouver Canucks. All right, that is NHL. Let's move on to NBA. As I said, your guest, your star of our Wednesday shows, our guy, Darryl. Got off to a tough start this year. He went 2-8 on the show. He's now 12-14. He's gone 10-6 since then. He had an absolutely spectacular record last year, and I expect the winners to continue to come. Please welcome from Los Angeles, California. We got Darryl Rice in the house. What up, Darryl? How are you, my man?
What's going on with you, Jake, man? Good to be here. Great to see you on a Wednesday, man. I am happy. Like I always say, any day on this side of the grass is a good day. And yeah, man, I like the slate today. Kind of up and down on, but it seems like some of my best days, Jimmy, are Wednesdays. Right. So I want to continue that momentum. Went 1-1 yesterday. Had a pretty good day over the weekend. Made one of my largest bets of the season on a game, on a team that's playing today. So we're going to hope to continue that trend. Peace to everybody, all the low baggers in the chat. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Going from my iPad today, so I can't see your comments. So I can't see if you roasted me or not. But yeah, let's get into it, man. It's a good slate. Good slate today. Happy that we got a lot of games to pick and choose from. Pick your spots, go with your gut, and let's get to work, brother.
Let's get to work, my man. I knew that you would find your way quickly, and you've done exactly that. So you're very close to the black, and I know that you will start your journey towards 60% against the spread. Let's go to work. NBA time, hard court. We start 7 p.m. Eastern. Detroit Pistons 7-22, 3-13 on the road. Charlotte Hornets 7-24, 9 at home. We're at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Let's first take a look at the line history for this one. We're starting with an ugly one. Yeah. The Pistons open up at +2. They got up to +3.5. There's been buyback. So they're now sitting at +2.5. From a total perspective, it opened up at 225.5, and it's now at 226.5, juice to the over. Cash flow wise, over to this, we have 3,802 tickets in. 66% of the tickets are on the Pistons, and we don't have the cash amount on the spread. 40% of tickets are on the over, and 80% of the cash is on that over. Detroit 1-4 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 100.5 possessions a game. Charlotte 0-5, playing at a pace of 100 possessions a game. Pistons coming up their third straight loss, 124-117 at home to the Lakers on Sunday. Jalen Duren was moved into the role of starting center. Bagley went to the bench, and Bagley said all the right things. Said all the right things about being replaced there. And Casey loves this kid. Casey loves Jalen Duren, 6.6 points, 7.3 rebounds, and just says he's a much better fit with Isaiah Stewart. Badgley, 11.4 points per game. Bogdanovich has led Detroit in scoring in 3 of the past 4, 38 points in that loss to the Lakers. And Cade Cunningham, we now know, is undergoing season-ending surgery. Yeah. He's been out for more than a month with that shin. Hornets coming off their 5th straight loss, 131-113 at Philadelphia on Sunday. Mason Plumlee and Nick Richards just had Embiid's balls dragged all over their eyelids and the bridge of their nose and into their mouth. It was pretty ugly. Embiid just, 53 points, just did whatever he wanted against them. Who cares how much energy? And look at Plumlee run the floor. I mean, fuck. Yeah. It's just,
It's Mason Plumlee, man.
Yeah. Rozier and Oubre are still putting up 20 each game, but it's not doing very much. Take it away for us, Darryl. First game on the board, Pistons, Hornets.
Yeah, so this is what you like to call a bum fight, right? As of late, and I think the money's on the right side, as of late, when these teams play each other, the games just go over. They go over, and it's not by just a few points. We're talking 25, 30-point games that go over. Detroit, 3-game losing streak, right? Charlotte, 5-game losing streak. 3-7 last 10 ATS. And I really try to look at this game as if, okay, let's see if this was the only game on the slate tonight. Would I go for that over? We'll probably miss a little bit of action there because I didn't slam it early. But I do think a safe play is on the over. But this is what I do like. Besides one team, this team is second to last in first quarter scoring, and that's the Charlotte Hornets. And you're going to give me Detroit, who's played some formidable teams, specifically defense, as of late, that being Memphis, New Orleans, Miami, even in LA. And they kept these games pretty close. Now you're going to give me them as a dog in the first quarter, where they are substantially better than Charlotte. There's only one team worse than Charlotte, and that's Indy, right? So give me Detroit first quarter. I do believe they can win this game outright, but it's at +1 right now. Detroit +1 first quarter. I do believe they can win this quarter easily by a point or two. You're not. If this game is going over, then we have buckets going back and forth. So I do like Detroit here. I think they have a very easy opponent, specifically defensive-wise, in comparison to the last teams that they've played as of late. I do like Detroit here. Detroit first quarter.
+1 at -106 over at Pinnacle. And Darryl is on the board.
Already.
Let's move on. This is a very interesting next game here. 7 p.m. Eastern, Golden State Warriors at Indiana Pacers. We're at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. Warriors 500, 2-12 on the road, but 14-14 on the year. Pacers 14-14 on the year, 8-6 at home. Warriors 2-3 over their past 5, playing at the pace of 102.4 possessions a game, while the Pacers are 2-3, playing at the pace of 99.10 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history in this one. We've had these Warriors open up as 1-point dogs, now sitting as 1.5-point favorites. From a total perspective, it opened up at 235.5. We're now sitting at 238, so it has climbed. Cash-wise, 3,295 tickets in, 75% of the tickets, 93% of the cash on the Warriors. 57% of tickets on the under. We don't have a cash flow. There are 3 games that we don't have cash flow for. Warriors are on the second half back-to-back after their third loss in 4 games, 128-111 at Milwaukee last night. The Warriors shot 40.4% in the loss. They're playing poorly. Wiggins misses 4 straight games. He's expected to miss tonight's action. And then they have the memory of they had won 10 in a row at home, and the Pacers came in on the second night of a back-to-back and beat them 112-104, and Andrew Nembhard went off. He went 31-13-8 in that game. Only 6 other rookies in league history have had a 31-13-8 game. Michael Jordan and Steph Curry as a couple of them. Pacers coming off their second straight loss, 87-82 at the home to the Heat on Tuesday night. Halliburton, 1 point in 33 minutes, missed all 9 of his shots, all 6 of his 3-point attempts. He's definitely going to bounce back here, but the Warriors may have a memory of that loss. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Warriors, Pacers.
We know what to do here, right? We know what to do here. I'm curious to see what the injury report is going to look like, but there are this game is a little tricky to me, and this is why. Pacers are dead last in first quarter scoring. If you are fading the Pacers in the first quarter, you're making money. And that was my biggest play in their last game against the Wizards. Right? It was -1.5 for the Wizards in the first quarter. Wizards covered that by 2. Pacers' last cover in the first quarter was against Golden State. They put up 37 points. And now you got Golden State off a back-to-back, road back-to-back at that. And we know how Golden State looks on the road. They're a completely different team than how they play at home. You would think you would have some type of balance here. They're a completely different team. So I struggled with, do I risk the chance in taking Golden State here in a revenge spot, even though we know how bad they are on the road, and even though we know that the Pacers' last first quarter cover was against this team? The answer is yes. So I'm going back to the window on this because I believe you can win more money than you can lose fading the Pacers in the first quarter. This is a risky play, but I've already made it official. This is more of a gut check for me. Don't know how Golden State's going to do down the line, or as this game goes further down. We know that Pacers make a serious jump and a bounce back in the second quarter, but that is just the story of this team. Even though they covered against Golden State, I do believe we can get a bounce back spot for Golden State to cover at least a half a point in the first quarter, and then we'll see where the rest of the game goes. So Golden State minus half first quarter. That is the play I've already made. I'm making that official.
I love it. I love the look here. It makes perfect sense to me. And why we don't need to trust them full game. We've seen what happens on the road, and we know that Halliburton's going to bounce back himself. I think this makes perfect sense. The Stars sat the fourth quarter. Why not fire out immediately? This makes perfect sense. You can get that minus a half at plus 103. There is a plus a half, minus 114, which then begs the question, what is the money line then, if that is the case? And so you can get them just on the money line at Pinnacle at minus 103. The Pinnacle still has the Pacers favorite.
Sheesh.
So do you want the Warriors?
Golden State more. Let's go. I took it at minus a half already, but yeah, let's go ahead and play money line for the Golden State Warriors. They should win this first quarter. It sucks though, because we are looking at the Pacers' last cover. They just shot lights out. I mean, they put up 12 more points than their season average against Golden State in that first quarter. I just don't think that's going to happen again. Because as soon as the next game happened, I think, which was against Brooklyn, they were just back to what they do, and they lose first quarters.
It's interesting. This is wild. So the Pacers are favored in the first quarter at Pinnacle. In the full game, though, they've moved the Warriors from plus 1.5 to minus 1.5.
Interesting.
It's wild that they would do that. I'm just going to pull up their site just to make sure that that's all facts here. Because if they're doing that, that would almost make me want to hesitate, as if they know something about this first quarter.
Right.
First quarter. No, that's the situation. The Pacers are minus 109 first quarter. A full game, the Pacers are plus 100.
That's crazy, man. That's what I've already taken it. But those are the things I thought about. Remember, Pacers just routed them. And maybe it is coming off a back-to-back, a road back-to-back at that, and that being the Pacers' last cover against the Golden State Warriors, which they just shot them out the building in the first quarter. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But I've already stepped on Golden State Warriors. But it makes perfect sense for Pinnacle to do that. Makes perfect sense. I can see why. So, yeah, I'm still going to go with my gut on this one. I like Golden State.
Yeah, no, I hear you, Sharpie, saying first quarter and full game bets move as their bet. No, I hear you. I'm just surprised. I'm surprised that money would be coming in on the Pacers' first quarter here. Sharpie looking at the first half. Von Polo says take Indiana money line and go to bed. Wine time. Wine time. We see it. I see it too. 93% of the cash right now is on the Warriors. Now the market is moving towards them slowly, but I can understand trepidation here. I can understand it. But I like the idea of the Warriors to bounce back here early. I find that interesting. Star Child leaning towards the Warriors first half. BJ's on Warriors money line full game. This might be a really nice live betting game where I'm sure you'll be able to get both of them at plus 5 at some point.
At some point, yeah. Absolutely.
That's fun. All right, Drill making moves on the first two games. I'm very interested in that first quarter look as well. All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board. Atlanta Hawks at Orlando Magic. Hawks 14-14, 5-9 on the road. Magic 8-20, 7-9 at home at Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. Atlanta dealing with injuries, 1-4 over their past 5, but still playing at a quick pace, 102.07 possessions a game. Orlando 3-2, playing at a pace at 96.98 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history here for Hawks Magic. We have the Magic opening up at plus 3.5. They got down to 2.5, but they're back at 3. Now that 3's juice, so maybe it is sort of a 2.5. From a total perspective, it opened up at 224.5, and we're now at 225. Take a look at the cash flow, 3,548 tickets in, 41% of the tickets, 60% of the cash is on the Magic. and market slightly moving towards them. Then 83% of the tickets and 96% of the cash on the over.
Mm-hmm.
That got up to 226.5.
Yeah.
It's back to 225. That is interesting. If you like the way Orlando's playing, I think they could dictate the pace. I mean, they're playing at a very slow pace. Hawks coming out their fourth loss in 5 games, 128-103 at Memphis on Monday. Trae Young put up 30 when he met these guys on November 30th. And his status is uncertain. He missed Monday's game with a back injury.
Mm-hmm.
And, Atlanta is struggling. Against the Grizzlies, 35.6% from the floor. And Memphis shot 60.2%. Atlanta allowed at least 120 points for the 4th time in 5 games. So Clint Capella has an Achilles injury. John Collins an ankle injury. DeJounte Murray has an ankle sprain.
Yeah.
But Bogdan Bogdanovic will be back. He sat on scheduled rest, so he'll be back. Orlando comes in off its 3rd straight win, 111-99 at home over the Raptors on Wednesday. Beat the Raptors in back-to-back games. There's a lot of uncomfort with the Raptors here.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of uncomfort with the way Scotty Barnes is playing. Scotty Barnes not happy with his role. Van Fleet played off ball to start the year. Now he's trying to be a scorer. It's not working. The only player that everyone's happy, or players, is just it's OG and Siakam. Everybody's very happy with them and know that they're our first 2 options. And Scotty Barnes is not one of our first 2 options,
which is surprising to me. It's a drastic change from last year.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's more OG stepping up. Look, OG's playing better than Scotty Barnes. We don't want the ball in Scotty's hands. We want the ball, and we want OG to be as included in everything we do as possible right now. We're pushing on him to get an all-star, make the all-star game. He probably won't. Banchero went for 20. That's a 4th consecutive game with at least 20. He's also 8.8 boards during that stretch. Wagner, a season high 34 points in that first win over Toronto, and then 23 in the second one. He's averaging 24.3 over the last 4 games. And, Cole Anthony and Markelle Fultz back. And Isaac, Okeke, Carter Jr., and Jalen Suggs all out right now. Take it away here. Interested in your thoughts. Take it away, Hawks Magic.
Yeah, this is tricky. Now, I remember something that Jalen Rose said a few years back. And that is, if you want to have an injury, what you want to have is a back injury, because there's no way to gauge how serious a back injury is. And this is what they've labeled Trae Young having now is a lower back injury. This team is still in dysfunction, and they could be actually 0-5 if they hadn't won that overtime game against Chicago, right? This team is in dysfunction, and there's still some issues between the players and the coach, specifically Trae and Nate McMillan. Right now, man, I don't think Trae plays this game. This is why you're seeing the line movement go each way. I just don't think he plays. I don't feel comfortable even touching this game because there are too many issues going on with Atlanta. And it's more than just basketball right now. There's some serious heated conversations happening behind the closed doors that we don't know about. And ever since the news broke about Trae and Nate getting into it, this team has been off the rails. Off the rails. So I don't feel comfortable playing any game where Atlanta's playing right now because you don't know what you're going to get. If they had a better opponent here, then I would fade Atlanta. But it is Orlando. They're one of the sorriest teams in the league. Also, if you've been fading Orlando in the first quarter, you've been making money kind of off and on here. Right now, man, I want to stay far away from this game. Man, if this game was on fire, I wouldn't piss on it, only because of what's going on. Don't touch this game. Be careful.
So why do you not trust Orlando after what they did to the Raptors?
Because the Raptors have their own issues, right? And so it seems like, yeah, the easy pick would be Orlando, but it's still Orlando, and you don't know what you're going to get. I just don't know how to gauge it. I don't know how to gauge it here, right? So if Orlando were home favorite, they're home dogs, right? Maybe if they were favorites, I would feel a little more comfortable. But me not being the smartest guy or smartest tool in the shed, if you will, I'm just looking at this game like, eesh, I don't know. Hawks are in dysfunction, and do we just take Orlando? I mean, maybe I'll get there. But if I had to make a play, it would be Orlando, but it's still Orlando.
I'm good, Twan and my man. It's been a very, very successful few days. All is good. A little tired. A lot of work goes into succeeding here. Yeah, I feel like the line is telling us that this is not as easy as one might think. I mean, clearly, from watching these two teams over the last 5 games, you'd be like, "Oh, well, Magic are going to take care of business." So. Sammy Comer says Atlanta's 7.5 earlier in the year. This should be -5. Says it's short at -3.
Yeah, the analytics I was looking at, total 225, home by 1.03. That's another thing too. Like, sheesh. I just don't know how to gauge it.
So let's say we're coming down to last 5 minutes in the game here. In this one, are you trusting even if Trey's not on the floor and all the injuries that the Hawks are facing, that they can get the job done against the Magic?
Eesh. I don't. There's nothing about this team that I trust, even with Trey. Even with Trey 100%. I mean, it's weird for me to say that, but when you've got too much shit happening, man. I mean, this game is. What do they say? 90% mental and 10% physical. Like, if you're just not there, man, if your head is not in the game, you can get ran out the building any given day of the week. And this is what I feel that's going on with Atlanta right now. So these problems were happening while Trey was healthy, if you want to call it that. News breaks out that him and Nate have an argument. You already have Collins that has an issue with the team that's been stemming for, it seems like, forever now. And then you have a reporter grill the shit out of Trey. Trey gets defensive. Trey doesn't show up for games. Come on, man. It's too much going on. Why would you want to invest in that? Now, invest in that team rather, right? So, like I said, to me, if I had to make a play on this game, it would be Orlando or nothing. Only because Atlanta's not fully there right now. If you're going to look at anything, if you want to play, look at some props in this game, right? Look at Boggs' threes, look at his points. But I just don't feel comfortable backing Atlanta in their current state.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Also, Capella not on the injury report, which is helpful. So we could easily see a situation with Capella and Trae Young both on the floor here.
You could, and maybe I just feel like their heads are not there.
I don't want Atlanta under any circumstances.
Okay,
I'm just trying to figure out why I'm not betting Orlando.
I know. Orlando is still what? They're third to last. Who's under them? You got Houston, who's making like a little run here. San Antonio's on their own little run. So these bottom feeder teams are starting to do something, but Orlando has still lost the last 3 games. So yeah, man, it's just
I know what's happening here. I'm just and these things I still have to say out loud because we have these biases when you watch games. The cappers who use their advanced models, and don't watch games have an advantage over us because we have vividness biases and recency biases, and I'm dealing with obviously watching Orlando beat the Raptors back to back. So okay, so I'm going to take the Magic off. I'm going to stay off of this game, but before we talk this all out, I was planning on moving on the Magic here as
on Orlando. Right. If I had to make the play, it would be Orlando. But it's Orlando. Like, what do we do?
I feel you. And LJ saying you have to take Orlando early first quarter. And Wine Time says, how it goes. Definitely. And I still have to say it out loud. We used to talk about in stand-up, when I was starting out, is the best thing an older comic said to me was, he said, your subconscious is an asshole. It's going to fuck with you, say negative things and put you in bad situations, And that happens in sports gambling more than anything. And that's why I always talk about reading The Undoing Project. Rob Free will be on Orlando. Well, I'll cheer on you, Rob. And I thought I was going to do the same thing. And maybe we can make more decisions once we have a better idea of the injury situation for the Hawks. All right, let's move on. Next up for us, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Sacramento Kings, 14-12, 6-8 on the road at the aforementioned Toronto Raptors, now 13-14, but they're 10-3 at home. What we thought, and this is the main concern with the Raptors, was what we thought was with our continuity and bringing back the same group that we were going to get off to a really good start. That was the one thing that everybody was sure of. We're going to get off to a good start. We did not think that we'd be sitting here a game under 500 playing game. This is, and we all know that in NBA and NHL, the worst thing you can do is be mediocre. There's nothing worse than that. And that's what they are right now.
Yeah.
Sacramento 2-3 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 100.6 possessions a game. The Raptors 2-3 playing at a pace of 98.80 possessions a game. Sammy Calmer says, I'm waiting for the Kings to get back home before I invest in them. In theory, it's a Raptors smash spot, but I can't trust him. He says the Raps may truly be broken. Bo Jackson says Coach Nurse will get his 200th regular season win tonight. It's a different Kings team, and they just looked real bad at Philly on the second half of back-to-back now. But let's take a look at the line history here. This is a Kings team that has shown heart this year, and so we can expect a much better performance from them. Raptors open up at -5 and -101. They're now -5, -103. It hasn't moved off the 5. This total opened up at 227. It's shot up to 231.5. It's gone up 4.5 points. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. 3,599 tickets in, 56% of tickets and 84% of cash on the Raptors. But they have not moved the line at all. Then you have 39% of tickets, but 58% of cash on the under, but it's skyrocketing up 4.5. Sweaty Butcher says Raptors 7-3 against the spread is home faves this season. LJ from H-Town says take the under 232. Kings are 26-6-1 to the under following a road loss, which they allowed 117 plus points. Spenny Pennybomb says Achua another week or so. OG a week or so. When everyone back, we will be fine. Yeah, fine's not where we want to be. That's fine as gets you in the playing game. And you just, when you're in a playing game, you're fucked. You've done everything wrong. Either got to be bad or good. Kings on the second half of back-to-back after their second straight loss, 123-103 at Philly. Kings were down 80-55 at the half. De'Aaron Fox came back to the lineup, 13 points on 5-15 shooting, 1-7 from deep. Because it's a sore foot injury. So do we not expect De'Aaron Fox in the second half of a back-to-back here because he was dealing with foot injury?
Wouldn't be surprised, right? We're talking about a back-to-back road travel, but you're going to Canada. So now you got customs to go through. You know, this one's a little bit harder travel, if you will. You go from Philly, not too far, but you still go through the whole rigmarole, going through customs, which gets you at the hotel a little bit later. Had your ass whooped by Philly yesterday. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm just going to go back to the well on this one here, only because what I had seen with Sacramento yesterday, I took Sacramento first quarter and lost it bad. And I'm going to go right back to the well with it on today. Toronto is absolutely horrendous first quarter ATS. Absolutely horrendous. I believe they're 3-7 first quarter ATS. Sacramento was in that game with Philly in the first quarter. They were tied up until you had Tony Brothers not even swallowing that whistle. Domas had 2 quick fouls. Even Matisse Thybulle had 2 quick fouls. You were on your third big in the first quarter with Sacramento. And you had Joel Embiid just feast. There was nobody that could stop Joel Embiid from feasting. I don't think you're going to have that issue against Toronto with the Kings. I don't believe you're going to have Domas get 2 quick fouls and have to come out the entire first quarter. Not going to happen. I don't believe so. Sacramento is still one of the higher scoring teams in the first quarter, higher scoring teams in the first half. They do really good at first quarter spreads, even though they've taken a little decline as of late. I still trust them to at least cover the +2. As bad as Toronto is, the points they're averaging right now is less than what the Kings are averaging. even over this last little stretch, the Kings are still putting up higher numbers than Toronto. I believe this is a good spot for Sacramento to cover the first quarter. And so I've taken Sacramento +2 first quarter. Don't know if they're going to go. Don't know how the game is going to go after that. But I want to take them early. They've got to get off to a good start. Even if Fox doesn't play, maybe the line moves a little bit, and I might just jump on that line again. But I do like the Kings +2 first quarter already jumped up.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know what we're getting from the Raptor squad. They're such an enigma right now for all of us. They don't look good. Would like to take a quick look at this fucking God, Gary Trent. A year ago, we thought Gary Trent was a huge piece of our future. Now we want him off the floor and off the team. I mean, it's crazy how this shit changes so drastically.
Jimmy, something's going on over there too. I'm telling you. Just like Atlanta, they just got a better way of keeping that stuff under wraps. Something's going on in that locker room. I promise you.
We just have a note from Jose Bouquet that LaMelo is returning today.
Oh, wow.
How does that affect your thoughts on that first game we broke down with Pistons?
I made the play already, so I've got to keep it official. I made the play already. I did. Only because, damn it, that means a lot because a guy can score and pass. This is what these injury reports do to you. They either hurt you or help you. But I took Detroit first quarter because Sacramento is still second to last in first quarter scoring. And so maybe this helps, right? Star player theory.
Yeah.
Maybe this helps.
KD is saying LaMelo coming back doesn't do much. Says he's still rusty. All right. Thank you for letting us know that, Jose. Very important stuff.
Yep.
Darryl moving on the Kings first quarter +2 at -108.
I have the analytics side has this game 218 being the total and away by 3.61.
Well, Sammy Calmer says he loves that Detroit first quarter now.
See, Sammy's a man, bro. Sammy's a man. Because Sammy can pick games, man. I'm telling you. So that gives him a little assurance. So, yeah, I'll stick with it. I have no choice. I can't get my money back.
Let's see that. Yes, and Pinnacles pulled it.
Good.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. So now we see the line with LaMelo out, and now we get a nice price on that first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I like that. I like that idea. I like that. It just took me a second to understand it. But yeah, of course. LaMelo coming back. I mean, the one thing you kind of when that happens, you prefer a team who's won a few games in a row, feeling good about themselves, and their star player comes back and fucks up their rhythm. Here you have a Hornets team that's lost 5 straight and looks awful.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what if it's kind of maybe too early, right? Maybe forcing them in there. Maybe if you were winning, you don't. Maybe if you're a team that's winning, you don't try to get them in a little sooner than later, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when I looked at that IR, that shit said out. Not probable, not questionable. It was out. So.
All right, let's keep rolling. There's the nuke worker in the house. Great to see you, my friend. Okay, we move on. Next on the board for us is the New York Knicks, 14-13, 7-6 on the road at Chicago Bulls, 11-15, 7-5 at home. We're at the United Center, Chicago, Illinois. New York 4-1 over their past 5, playing the pace of 99.10 possessions a game. And Sammy Calmer says Shams reported LaMelo's optimistic to return tonight. And Richie Vegas, we're going to be into NCAA basketball here with DabyCab shortly. Chicago 2-3 over their past 5, playing at the pace of 104.13 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history for this one. Sorry, God, too many things open here. Okay, here we go. The line history for this one. We have the Knicks playing their best basketball of the year, opening up as 4-point dogs, sitting at 4-point dogs. It did get to 4.5 at one point, back to 4 now. From a total standpoint, it opened up at 224.5, and it's now at 226. Rocco Rogers liking the Bulls here. LJ from H-Town saying Bulls 6-0 at home against the spread as a fave. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. We have 5,677 tickets in. This is the most bet game on the board at this point. 43% of the tickets and 84% of the cash on the Chicago Bulls. 53 and 54 on the over. 53 and 54 on the over. 53 tickets, 54 cash, and it's gone up 1.5 points. So they are concerned about that. Knicks coming off their fourth straight win, 112-99 at home over Sacramento on Sunday. And they're hoping to get Brunson back. He hurt his foot against the Kings. He's listed as questionable.
Yeah.
And Thibodeau says that he's feeling a lot better. New York's allowed 102 points or fewer in all 4 games. So they had only done that once in the first 23 games of the year. So they're starting to play defense. That's what Thibodeau wants. The Bulls had their modest 2-game winning streak snapped in a 123-122 overtime loss at Atlanta, and it was a wild way to lose the game. It was but Bucca went in and they lost. Take it away here for us, Darryl. Knicks Bulls.
Yeah, I did notice that. These games are going under. These games are going under, right? This is showing 227 home by 3.51. So in this point, they're not even covering against the Knicks. I'm going to tell you the better angle. And I'll tell you now, give me Knicks first half. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
Jesus.
I don't give.
You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
Wow, that caught Jose by surprise.
I know. He was waiting for me to say, you ready for this? You ready for this? You ready for this analysis? The reason why I didn't do it is because they're dogs first half. I got it at Knicks or +2 first half. That was the first play I made this morning. Second one I made was Golden State. Knicks are first in the league in first half ATS. First in the league. And what they've been doing in their most recent body of work are they're clamping down and playing defense. Some of these teams are not even getting to 100. You know who's last in the league in first half ATS? The Bulls. Chicago Bulls are last in the league. Last in the league. So when you got first against the last, and you got that big of a disparity where you've got one team that's well above 500 and how they cover those first half spreads, and a team that's well below 500 on how they cover these spreads, I'm going to jump on that. New York Knicks +2 first half. I already stepped on it. That is my play.
And we can get you 2.5. The market's all over the place right now. There's 1.5s available. Pinnacle just moved it to 2 from 1.5. But Bovada giving you a 2.5 at -110. So let's give you that +2.5 -1.
They roasted me for that. That came out of nowhere. You're right, Reb. See, this one, I had to do that because it just doesn't feel the same when they're dogs, right? When they're favorites, you got to be like, you ready for this? You ready for this? But no, man, you got a team that's first and a team that's last. Enough said on this. And their most recent body of work and how the Knicks are playing, this works to me in their favor.
Do you feel like the situation with the Knicks having won a 4 straight, that the big bets coming in on the Bulls, but the public is on the Knicks? Bulls have covered all 6 times they've been home favorites. Do you feel like the market is telling us that the Bulls are going to take care of business in this one?
That applies for the full game.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe so, right? But this game, I'm going to go on a stretch here and say, out on a limb rather, I don't think this game it's going to be a very big, a wide margin at any point. I think this game is just going to be tight throughout the entire game. That's the way I feel it's going. And so sharps are on the Bulls, Public's on the Knicks. That applies to the full game. But this first half, I think the Knicks can be up the first half. And I came really close to playing an alt line just to get some plus money here at Knicks -0.5, just to see what I could get. But I'll take the 2. I'll take the 2 here.
Huh. I will hook you up with that. Well, we got you 2.5. I think that this is a situation where the Bulls are going to take care of business. I find it funny, some of the cappers thinking that the Knicks are so bad on the road, but they're 7-6 on the road. I mean, where they're not to be trusted has been at home. They should not have been trusted all year until this 4-game winning streak, really. Starchild with you on the points first half, also on the over in the first half. Sharpie talking about the Knicks defense these last 4 games. Bo Jackson says hard to trust these Knicks, and Troy Torrance is on the Bulls -4 and Randall over 8.5 or rebounds. I like it. I'm going to take the Bulls full game here to take care of business.
Couldn't talk you off that. Couldn't talk you off that at all.
All right, well, let's keep rolling. Next up, Miami Heat. Wow, 13-15, 4-9 on the road. At Oklahoma City Thunder, 11-16, 6-5 at home. We're at Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Miami 2-3 over the past 5, playing at a pace 95.50 possessions a game, while the Thunder are 2-3, playing at a pace at 104.40 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. The Heat, God, they don't look good this year. They opened up as 3.5-point favorites. They're now 2.5-point favorites. Mm-hmm. From the total perspective, they opened up at 227. It's dropped all the way down to 223. 223. And we know, before we'd easily be able to say, the Heat coming off their second win in 3 games, 87-82 at Indiana on Monday. Get used to it, because they can dictate pace, get used to these low-scoring games. But the Thunder could be the team that dictates the pace in this game. The Heat, they're not alphas anymore. And I don't trust them to slow a game down or do anything out here. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this one. 5,424 tickets in. 47% of the tickets are on the Thunder and 98% of the cash. So someone's made a huge bet here on the Thunder, or a conglomerate, some type of syndicate made a big bet. Rob Free says Heat should win here.
Should.
Heat come in off their second win in 3 games. And that started their 4-game road trip. They're just 4-9 on the road this year. Last year they were 24-17. How things have changed. Thunder coming off their third straight loss, 121-114 at Dallas on Monday. And Jalen Williams has been playing very well, rookie guard. He played 38 minutes, went 8 of 13 from the floor for 17 points. Take it away here for us, Darryl.
I don't want to take it away. I don't want to take fuck this game. I don't give a shit about this game. Who's playing for Miami tonight? You see that IR? Are we going to see Haslam again? Like, come on, man. Come on. If you're playing this game, if you took a deep dive into this game, there's a 1-800-GAMBLER number I could give you. I don't want to play this game at all. My notes, I don't like this fucking game. People are out of game. Prop game. That's what I wrote on my notes, man. I don't like this fucking game. People are out again! ! Prop game! !
Jose, I think Jose, we need the new video as well. The I don't give a shit about this game.
Shit about this game.
Ramos knows I like bum fights.
Yeah. You're going to try to find something. But yeah, when I looked at it, Miami's just trash. I took Miami to cover first quarter, and they did. And it was against Indy. It was against Indy. And then after that, I was just, nope. Not touching these squads at all. Look at SGA's points. He's going to probably go off. But I would just wait for the injury reports. If you like Oklahoma, take them now. Because if you've got people who are questionable that's sitting, I think you got Duncan who's questionable. I think Jimmy Butler's already ruled out, right? So now you're going through the set pieces No, don't touch this game if you don't have to. There's a lot of other games on the board.
I want the Thunder here. Do you think there's any chance that the Miami starting off this road trip, that this could be maybe start turning their season around if they have a good road trip here and they started off with a win over Indiana on Monday night and they can continue this going, or is this a spot where the Thunder have value? They're 6-5 at home against the Heat, who are 4-9 on the road.
They've lost their last 3. Their big win was against Atlanta, who's in disarray. But you lose to Memphis, Cleveland, and Dallas. So, I don't know. Miami, you beat Indy. You beat them in the first quarter. You covered that. But you lose to San Antonio. You lose to San Antonio, and that's a game where everybody was back. I believe everybody was back that game. You beat the Clippers, but you lose to Detroit and Memphis. So, if this is a get-right game, maybe it is, but I would have to see it to believe it, right? So I would just have to see it first.
I have interest in the Thunder. I'll decide if I want to pull the trigger, but I have interest in the Oklahoma City Thunder here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's roll on. Next up for us, Portland Trailblazers, 15-12, 8-6 on the road at San Antonio Spurs, 9-18, 5-10 at home. 3 straight wins for these Spurs. Break them up.
Yeah.
112, 111 at home over the Cavs on Monday night. Portland 4-1 over their past 5, playing at the pace of 100 possessions a game. San Antonio 3-2 over their past 5, playing at the pace of 99 possessions a game. Portland comes in off their second straight win over Minnesota at home. They won 124-118 on Saturday, and then they won 133-112 on Monday. Razor Sharp picks his first time all month Thunder's home. Yeah, they're coming off a 5-game road trip, but the road trip was bad. You know, they finished off with 3 straight losses. That's why I hate it. You know, get home, start feeling better about yourself. You're over 500 at home. Generally, that would be a spot I don't like, but I don't mind it here. Oliver Page looking at the over 231 in this one. Let's take a look at the line history here for this Blazers-Spurs spot here. Let's move over. Here we go. We have the Blazers come in as 7-point favorites. They're now 8-point favorites. From a total perspective, it opened up at 231 at a pick'em. It's now juiced minus 115 to the under. And then cash flow wise here, 4,410 tickets in. These are the same numbers that we're getting from the Thunder. You have 47% of the tickets on the Blazers and 94% of the cash. So big bets have come in on the Blazers, and we've seen it move from 7 to 8.
Mm-hmm.
Then 72% of tickets and 96% cash on the over, and yet it's juiced to the under now, which is a little tricky. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Blazers, Spurs.
You ready for this? Are you ready for this? You want to hear my analysis on this, Jimmy? Just tell me yes or no.
I do, yeah.
Portland first half minus, I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
Woo! People loving it, man. Mike M says Portland smack spot. Rob Freeze also on the Blazers first half. Mike M looking at a trifecta. Take it away. Why are you so confident on this first half look?
Okay, so first off, let's talk about the line, right? So the line in the first game was minus 8.5. And San Antonio covered that, right? By 1.5 points. That was 110 to 117. San Antonio's been on a tear, if you want to call it that, a miniature tear, where they are just winning games. They're winning games. They're taking care of business. And you get a hot Portland team, and you've got this line at 7.5. And you know who's not playing in this game? Jakob Poeltl. Jakob Poeltl. That's your best big man. That's not going to be on the court, which is going to have a lot of rebounding and points for Nurkic. A lot of good pick and roll action, pick and pop action. You're going to see it all. But this team is going to suffer not having Jakob Poeltl there. If San Antonio's been playing the game that they have been playing, even without Jakob, this line should be a lot lower than what it is. And you're seeing it at 7.5. That's one thing. The second thing, the last time this team met, Portland scored 63 points in the first half. San Antonio scored 55 points in the first half. And they turn around and cover that game. Third thing, the amount of points right now that Portland is putting up in the first half has put them second in the league. Second in the league at 63 points. They're tied with Brooklyn right now. San Antonio is in the middle of the pack, putting up about 57 points in the first half. This game is going to be high scoring. I have it right now at this game. It shows 218 away by 5.5. I don't give a fuck about that at all. I do believe Portland's going to come out guns blazing in the first half. The problem that we've had with Portland, and that was in the past, was that they just fall flat in the fourth quarter. But with Dame being back and the less responsibility with Anthony Simons, man, I like the way Portland's looking right now. And I jumped all over to that shit. Portland first half minus, I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is. They're going to let San Antonio have it today. You still got to understand, man, San Antonio, they're still a sorry team. Even when you're tanking, you still got to win some games off and on, right? This is a game that they're going to get smacked at. I couldn't talk anybody off the full game, but I always have that little hesitation at what happens in the fourth quarter. But with Jakob Poeltl out of there, and he played last game against Portland, and they still beat him by 7, give me that all day. Portland first half -4, I jumped on it.
What do you think of adding that first half team total over to it, 61.5?
I was looking at that. And it's just too close for comfort for me. That's all. I mean, 63 points is what they're averaging their last 3. I've just always missed the mark with that, to be honest with you. I've always missed the mark with that. You remember we were taking Brooklyn team totals over in last year, and I would just always fall short by a point or two. So I did look at that, but it's just too close for comfort for me. I would rather take the spread.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm thinking of doubling up with the first half team total over. Teams against the Spurs are able to run up the score, especially early. So I like that a lot. By the way, our guy, the Wild Hound, has come in and given us his looks for World Cup action that starts in an hour and a half. He's got a plus 700 parlay. Mbappe over 1.5 shots on target and to score at any time. Both teams to receive a card, and France to lead at halftime and to score in both halves. That is a plus 700 parlay.
That's crazy.
In-game parlay for our Wild Hound.
You got to put that up because I would blind. I mean, I don't bet FIFA, but I do watch it. But I would love to see that. I would tail that. I'd put some Starbucks money on that.
Ooh, yeah, I've tailed Flash on Argentina, and I expect. I mean, I can't really I've already cashed the K, and I'll get another 1.1 if they win it all. It's crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, it feels very good.
I would tail that. I'd blindly tail it.
Well, there it is. I popped it in the chat. That's not my action. That's our guy, Wild Hound. That's our guy, William Haggis from across the pond right there. That's his look with the plus 700 in-game parlay. Yeah, True Teller. It's just an in-game parlay. Same game parlay, sorry. All right, I love the look that you just gave us, Darryl. Blazers first half -4. It makes a ton of sense to me. All right, let's roll on. Next up for us, 9 p.m. Eastern, Cleveland Cavaliers, 17-11. Now 5-9 on the road, surprisingly. Against the Dallas Mavericks, 1 game over 500, but 11-4 at home. American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. Cleveland 2-3 over the past 5, playing at a pace of 97.50 possessions a game. Dallas 3-2, playing at a pace of 98.5 possessions a game. So 1 possession quicker. Cavs coming off their second loss in 3 games, a 112-111 at San Antonio on Monday, and the Mavs snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 121-114 win at home over the Thunder on Monday. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have these Cavs opening up as 2.5 point dogs, now 2-point dogs. From a total perspective, opened up at 213.5 and is shot up to 216. Got up to 217. Now, though, at 216. The Mavs were playing at a much slower pace a couple weeks ago. So they're speeding up their pace. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. We have 4,258 tickets in. 23% of the tickets are on the Cavaliers and 91% of the cash. Ooh-wee. Big bets have come in on the Cavs, public on the Mavs, and the lines moved to 2. Even when you look at this line, the first thing you think of, whoa, the Mavs have that part. I mean, it's just, how could you not think that with the Cavaliers' struggles on the road? But the Sharps are all over the Cavs. 76% tickets on the over, but we don't have a cash flow. This is interesting. Take it away for us. Spending penny bombs on Garland, double. Sammy Comer says he's close to betting Cleveland. Let's hear what Darryl has to say. Cavs, Mavs.
It's a Cleveland spot or nothing for me. I did not get there, but I think I will. I haven't made it official because Cleveland make me sick, bro. That loss to San Antonio just made me throw up. Honestly, I just don't know how you lose to San Antonio as stacked as Cleveland is. I think they also didn't have Jakob Poeltl in that game. Their shooting is just down. Like, Garland hadn't been making his shots. You still have Donovan Spider-Man kind of go off, but I don't know how to gauge Cleveland right now. So the only reason why I stepped off this game is because I want to see if they could play a really good game against Dallas. I believe Cleveland is the spot, but that San Antonio loss did rub me the wrong way. It really did. So I think the public just sees this low number and thinks, oh, yeah, Luka Doncic, he's going to have a field day today. But Cleveland can still show up to play. They just dropped the ball against San Antonio, and I didn't want any parts in it. But I still might get there with Cleveland, just not official just yet. I do believe Cleveland is a spot. I show this game right now, 200-point total. 200 points, home by 1.93.
Wow.
So maybe that also attests to just how bad Cleveland has been shooting as of late, right? If you look at their scoring, this is what you're working with, because it's hasn't been really pretty for them at all. It's been atrocious. It's been absolutely atrocious. Shooting percentage has gone down. Their average points in the first quarter has gone down by almost 4 points. You put up 111 against San Antonio. You put up 110 against OKC. You win that game. 95, lose that game with Sacramento. You do put up 116 against the Lakers. And then you put up 92 against New York. So, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts there, but it's a loss, win, loss, right? So maybe this is the game that they bounce back because that's the rhythm. They win one, lose one, win one, lose one. And Dallas on the other end, they had a two games that they lost against Chicago and Milwaukee, where they let Chicago put up 144 points on them. Chicago put up $144 on them. They lost to Milwaukee by a point, right? And then they beat OKC. They put up 121 points. So this one both teams to me are just kind of all over the place. I want to see if Cleveland can win. I do believe that they can, though. I do. I just got to see it first.
I've had some success this year when I see a total getting hammered to the over, and to stop and say this is too much. If the Cavaliers can only put up 111 at San Antonio, even so, and then Alex Gagnon saying that they went 5 of 23 from 3 against the Spurs, and that's a very important stat to expect them to bounce back here. But don't, and then look at Starchild on the first quarter over 55.5, which I don't have any problem. Like I think I get them scoring early, but even if they put 117 points up against the Spurs, the Mavs, I guess the problem is, I guess I got to pump my brakes. The Mavs pace is sped up so much. I was about to say that I think that the under is the play, that this has gone too high. If I had a free bet, I would, but I think I got to pause on what the Mavs are doing now because they're starting to play with a lot more pace.
Yeah.
Rob Free, what do you think of this comment from Rob? Says no Garland and Mitchell, Garland and Mitchell are having a power struggle over the team. Fourth quarters are happening often.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That wasn't the issue in the beginning of the year, right? I mean, through the first 11 games, Spider Mitchell was averaging over 30 points. So maybe that is an issue. To talk on that first quarter, it would make sense to take that over if the points on Cleveland's end hasn't just substantially gone down. They were giving you about 28.3, and now they're right at 25, 26, right? Dallas is in the same boat to where they're giving you about 28 points, but they also play very slow. So I wouldn't be surprised if this first quarter ended right at 54. Right at 54. A 28-26 first quarter. I would not be surprised. But if we're gonna shoot if we're gonna talk about the shooting, then maybe the shooting does improve. You can't just shoot that bad as well as a 3-point scoring team as Cleveland has the potential to be. So it could go either way.
Mike, I don't think that's quite the situation here, according to the numbers from Pinnacle and Bet Online. Bet Online opened this at 3, and within 40 minutes dropped it to 1.5. The
That's
only
crazy.
thing that does that is money.
That's
money coming
That's
in on the
serious
Cavs.
money on the Cavs.
And so Pinnacle, Pinnacle was a little different because they didn't open it up till, I believe, 5:43 yesterday. But they had a similar thing. They opened it up at 2.5. 5 minutes later, they juiced that 2.5, 8 cents. 2 minutes after that, they just dropped it to 2.
Yeah, it's a Cavs spot. I was talking about this yesterday with a couple of the games that I had seen. The Suns game was like that. The New Orleans Pelicans game was like that yesterday, where it was like, okay, Pelicans are on a heater right now, and look, they lay an egg. Celtics almost tricked off that game to the Lakers. Lakers came back, man. Came back. They were down by like 15 by the half. So this is one of these games to where you're going to look at Cleveland losing, right? And then see Dallas at only a -2 and say, okay, yeah, Luka's going to go off. But I would think the other way. I believe the Cavs can win this game. And the more I talk about it, I think I'm going to make that official. I'm going to make that official, man.
Full game?
Full game.
Okay.
I'm going to make the play on it myself right now.
All right, let's lock you in for the Cavs full game. I'm interested in them. I'm interested in them here. I don't know if I would like to prefer being in it early. 'Cause I kind of lean towards them being locked in early after that loss to the Spurs and being on the road and staying.
Because they can't shoot that bad, right? That's. I'm glad that was brought up. 5 for 23 from the 3. You know Garland can go on a heater. That guy is an absolute threat behind the arc.
Do you want this at 2 or 2.5? The 2 right now -107. The 2.5. Oh, it's probably too expensive. 2.5 -115.
I'll take it because it's still under 120. I'll take it.
Cavs first half plus 2.5 -115 for Darryl. I'm going to get involved.
That's full game.
Oh, sorry. Cavs full game. Excuse me. Sorry. I'm looking at my own notes. Cavs full game plus 2.5 -115. Rob Free says, go look at the Cavs road record last 7 games. Yeah, I mean, they're 5-9 now on the season. And he says, ain't no damn way. And Andre Louis saying Habs plus 185 now. Doesn't make sense to me, Andre. And but maybe it's best just to focus on Senators not scoring. But all right, Cats first, full game plus 2.5. Okay, we got a sorry, that was a very interesting game. We'll be a little quicker on these next two games, and then we'll get into college basketball with DabyCab. 9 p.m. Eastern, Washington Wizards 11-17, 3-10 on the road at the Denver Nuggets, 16-10, 7-3 at home. We're at Ball Arena, Denver, Colorado. Wizards have lost 7 straight games, man. They are not playing well. They're coming off a 112-100 loss at home to the Nets on Monday. Over their past 5 games, they're playing at a pace of 101.40 possessions a game. Denver comes in off their second straight win, 115-110 at home over the Jazz on Saturday. They're a rested group. They've gone 2-3 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 97.70 possessions a game. Let's move on to the line history here. These Nuggets opened up -9, -105. They're now 9.5 at -111. From a total perspective, opening up at 225, now sitting at 226.5. We go over to the cash flow, knowing that there's been a half-point move over to the Nuggets. 62% of the tickets and 81% of the cash on Denver. Then you have 15% of the tickets on the under and 30% of the cash on the under. And that total's gone up 1.5. So the public betting the over. Take it away for us, Darryl. Second to last game on the card before we get into NCAA basketball. Wizards, Nuggets.
Yeah, I'll make it simple. Wizards are first in the league in first quarter over-under total. First in the league. These games go over in the first quarter. They're 9-1. They just went down and they did not cover that last game. But I think it's a trend that we should start looking at. And that is the Wizards, that first quarter total going over. That's the only play I got. I don't understand why Denver is at -9. Showed this game 218, home by 5.47. But if you look at the Wizards' first quarter totals, they all go over, for the exception of the Brooklyn game. And that game was at like 60 points. But this one here, against the Clippers, over. Against Indy, over. Against Chicago, over. Against Lakers, over. These guys are just, they score points in the first quarter, and teams score points in the first quarter with them. So if we're looking at a 226 total, I just feel like that might be a spot to look at.
Interesting. Pinnacle has it juiced the most.
In the first quarter, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They have the worst line of every book.
What do you have?
They have over 56 at -108, but you can get 55.5 all over the place at -110. But
yeah,
that's a sign when
Yeah,
Peter Loshak always looks to see if Pinnacle's giving you the best line, there's a problem with the bet, and they're giving the best line on the under first quarter. So I think you're onto something here with this overlook.
Yeah.
Did you
I'm
want
gonna
it?
make that? I'm looking at my book right now. I'm gonna make that play. I'm playing a lot today, but they did lose against Brooklyn. But that was such a high total. I think it was like 60 points in the first quarter. So we're right now back at that 55, 56 range. So you're telling me both teams got to put up 28. One team puts up 28, 29 points. I'm with it. I'm
interested in this look as well. And Wizards playing at a fast pace, and Nuggets rested and ready to play at that pace if needed. I like that look. Spenny Pennybomb saying KP might be out. Let's just take a look here and get.
It's questionable. Unicorn is questionable. They got a lot of people out, so that could make the game go fast. Yeah, I've got it at over 56 at -110, and just on my local here, I'm going to make that play official.
Yeah, you've got it. You got it locked in. So, all right. Is any chance that Bradley Beal is in the lineup tonight? It's questionable. They said he's going to return at some point on the trip.
He's quick, but yeah, I'm all that does is help, right?
Yeah.
So get on early. All that does is help. That dude's one of the fastest in the league still.
All right, let's talk about the final spot on the board. Darryl, Minnesota Timberwolves 13-14, 6-7 on the road to LA Clippers 60-13, 8-6 at home. We're Crypto.com Arena. Los Angeles, California. Minnesota 2-3 over their past 5, playing at a very fast pace, 104.80 possessions a game, coming off consecutive losses at Portland on Saturday and Monday. Clippers 3-2 over their last 5, playing the pace 97.47 possessions a game, and they're coming off their second straight win. It was a big 113-93 win at home over the Celtics on Monday. Ramon Scott in the house. Great to see Ramon. Says, would I see Beal upgraded to question mark? That makes me think he will be in. Rob Free says the Wiz don't play defense in the first quarter. I think that is a really interesting look that you have there that I'm very interested in as well. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Wolves clip show. John Wall is out. Razor Sharp Picks shared that with us. Clippers opened up at 6.5. They dropped to 6. They're back at 6.5. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 223. It's now at 222.5, but it dropped all the way down to 221 before there was buyback. Cash-wise here, 3,345 tickets in, 25% of the tickets and 60% of the cash on the Timberwolves. 81% of tickets, 98% cash on the over, but it dropped to 221, and then there was some buyback. Interesting. An expectation that the Timberwolves will bounce back after those ugly losses at Portland. Timberwolves maybe want to play in Los Angeles in front of the stars and the crowd. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Wolves clip show.
Yeah, man, I don't want to play this game. The number seems large. Lost the Clippers, 2 great wins. Minnesota, 2 great losses against Portland. And are we seeing Kawhi come alive now? Right? Is it one of these games to where we start trusting the Clippers that they're going to play? But how much motivation does Minnesota have right now? Your last 2 wins were Indy and Utah, right? And then you lose to Portland. I didn't want to play this game because first off, fuck the Clippers. And secondly, fuck Minnesota. But, they will get you paid when you need to get paid. Right now, this is a stay-away game for me. I might get there, but I just think the spread is a little too high. I really do. So, for me, at this point, what do you trust? Do you trust that the Clippers are back? Or do you trust that Minnesota just kind of fell off and they're going to get right and this is a get-right game? I don't know. I don't have a gut feeling on this. But if I had to choose a side right now, it would be Minnesota.
I think so. I think they might turn it up here in LA. And the Clippers, as this big of a favorite coming off beating the Celtics and feeling good about themselves, might put them make them a little vulnerable.
Right. And is that win really legit? I mean, brutal road schedule for Boston. And you saw those tired legs happen, and they were able to pull out a win against the Lakers. Not much traveling, but those guys were already tired, right? Already. They just probably want to get back home anyways. So did they just catch Boston in a bad spot, right? And is that matchup against Portland just a bad matchup for Minnesota? So it's more questions than answers the way I'm looking at this game. And so it was a stay away for me.
Yeah, I'm actually, God, I hate saying this because they'll just take your money and fucking burn it. But I have interest in the Timberwolves at this number here in Los Angeles. I really do. I hate saying it, but I've had terrible success here. But I think that the Wolves at this number are appealing, especially after that win over the Celtics. All right, let's review action. This was fun. There's a lot of interesting spots here. Darryl is all over this card. Darryl again, 10-6 with us over his last 3 shows. He got off to a tough start, 10-6 over his last 3 shows and climbing. Darryl's on the Pistons first quarter +1 at -106, and now I've got asterisks beside that because we're expecting LaMelo in. When that's confirmed announced, and the market moves, then I think I'm going to join. Darryl's on the Warriors first quarter at -103. I do think they'll bounce back early. I don't know if they will for the whole game. Then Hawks Magic, we are off. Darryl, you're on the Sacramento Kings first quarter +2 at -108. You're on the Knicks first half +2.5, and there's I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is. Play number 1. I'm going to move on the Bulls full game in that one. I have interest in the Thunder. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is. Blazers first half -4 at -105. I like it. I like that spot. I like that spot. And then Darryl is on the Cavs full game plus 2.5 minus 115. I want to look at that longer. I think the Cavs will be live. I want them early and maybe, I'm going to sit with that a little longer. Then Darryl's on the first quarter over 55.5 when Wizards Nuggets. I love that look. I'm definitely rolling. And then I think I'm going to try to build up the confidence to bet on the most worthy team in the league, the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
There you go. I love it, Darryl. I cherish these Wednesdays. Thank you for rolling with us. We're going to move on to NCAA basketball. Just before Darryl leaves, our guy, Nasty Nate, is doing a fundraiser for his son's basketball team.
Okay.
Rhode Island here, and I'm going to pop it into the chat. They're trying to raise $500 is the goal for the Narragansett Mariners boys basketball team. So I'm going to drop that in the chat.
Nate, send me a DM, brother.
There it is right there. There it is right there. Popped it in there. And if anybody can help support, low bag fam, we look out for each other and we care about each other's families and all that. So, all right, there we go. Darryl, I love it. Thank you for rolling with us. Can't wait till next Wednesday as well, my friend. And keep up the great work. I'm watching you climb out of that early season hole. And we all saw your body of work last year. And we have enormous belief in you. Unwavering belief.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me. Thank you, everybody in the chat. I appreciate you guys. Love, man. All love over here. Jimmy, I will see you again on Wednesday, brother. Make sure you're out there being safe, man. We're coming in the holiday seasons also. So have a very, very, very Merry Christmas to you and yours. I will see you in 7 days.
I love it. There he is. Darryl Rice. It's Darryl, baby. He's 10-6 over his last 3 shows with us, and he is climbing. All right, we move on to NCAA basketball, and this has become my favorite thing to do. We've gotten off to a great start on the season. I love working with your next guest, and I'm excited with what we are doing. 10 games we have that we're going to be breaking down right now, and our records are both very nice. Please welcome to the show from Dallas, Texas, DabyCab in the house. Dabby, how are you?
What up, Jimmy? Ready to get back. You said it, man. Wednesdays and Thursdays, they're exciting. I look forward to this now. I look forward to you guys in the chat. Look forward to breaking this college basketball down with you, Jimmy. And most importantly, getting fucking paid, right?
And we've been doing that. We have been doing that consistently. I haven't had a bad night. I went 2-3 on Friday, and I thought it was 4-1, and I screwed up on the first half instead of a full game. And then lost one by a half point. Like I feel like we're finding ourselves. Rob Free saying Mississippi State minus 21 is his best bet of the day. Let's copy and paste that. And let's get to work. We start off at 7 p.m. Eastern. Stephen F. Austin Lumberjacks 5-4. 1-0 on the road at the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. 6-3, 3-0 at home. We're at Thomas Assembly Center in Ruston, Louisiana. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Let's move over to NCAA basketball. And we've been getting a lot more action on NCAA basketball in the marketplace. And it's helped us with these line moves. There wasn't enough tickets at first, but we're starting to get more action. Stephen F. Austin opening up as 4.5 point dogs. Now we look at Pinnacle and Bet Online. I think that's helped us as well. We know that Bet Online gets to the market first, but this came out at Pinnacle yesterday at 3:14 p.m. So Pinnacle wasn't fucking around. This opened up at 5 as a pick 'em. There's been a half-point move to SFA. Let's take a look with Bet Online. Bet Online opened this up 2 hours before Pinnacle at 4.5. So they've done the opposite. They've had a half-point move to Louisiana Tech. So they're at 5, and Pinnacle's at 4.5. Interesting. Total-wise, this opened up at 149.5 at Pinnacle and it's dropped all the way down to 145. 4.5-point move at Penny. At Bet Online, we have a 5-point move to the under. And there's been a heavy move to the under just in the last hour and a half or so from 147 down to 145. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. It gets off at 7 p.m. today. And we have 1,470 tickets in. That's enough. 42% of the tickets and 63% of the cash is on SFA. 40% of the tickets and 48% of cash is on the under. It's interesting that the market is so concerned about that under that they're dropping it so quickly. SFA lost at home to Northwestern State Demons on December 1st as 12.5-point favorites. It was an embarrassing loss. Then they were off for 10 days. They played on Sunday against Div 2 Paul Quinn Tigers and beat them by 63. So this is a rested team now getting another look at a tough opponent. Louisiana Tech had their 4-game winning streak snapped in a 92-65 loss at Wyoming on Saturday as 5-point dogs. It was an ugly loss. It was a big slap in their face. They're 3-0 undefeated at home here at Thomas Assembly Center. Take it away for us here, DabyCab. SFA Lumberjacks, La Tech Bulldogs.
Yeah, you said it. That last game against Wyoming was bad. I mean, they look like shit. And if we want to like find a narrative or something, a narrative coming into this game could be this could possibly be a get right spot at home for La Tech. Both of these teams are pretty evenly matched in the numbers wise. SFA averaging 79.2 points per game, led by Hall, who's getting 12.1. They're giving up 66.1. So when we look at these numbers, you'll notice their defense. So they're giving up 66.1 points per game. On the flip side, La Tech's only giving up 69.6. I like their senior guard, Kobe Williams, that leads this La Tech team. They're averaging 76.6 points per game. He's averaging 17.4 points per game. This is a tough game, and the market confirms my thoughts on it being tough. I think the under is probably the best play here. I kind of lean La Tech, but I haven't bet this one.
Yeah, and I think we missed the boat on betting the under now. It's gone too far. I think you're right. I think if it comes down to it, I would say that La Tech should bounce back here after that tough loss at Wyoming. In saying that, the market certainly isn't giving us any confidence to make that move. And if they're not going to give us confidence to make that move, then we don't have to bet it. So right. I'm just going to put question marks here just to ensure that if I don't have enough action in college basketball today, then I can double back here. But you're right. This is not enough for us to pull the trigger. Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern, DePaul Blue Demons. We've had a good read on them so far this year, whether betting on them or against them. We bet against them a couple times with great success and on them once. 6-4, 2-1 on the road. Going up against the Dukies. Duquesne, 7-3, 6-2 at home. We're at the Field House in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Let's take a look at the line history here for DePaul Duquesne. We have, here we go. We have Duquesne opening up as 1.5-point favorites. They're now 3.5-point favorites. Interestingly enough, though, the first move was towards DePaul. DePaul opened up at +1.5, and then they became 1-point favorites. That was after an hour and 40 minutes. Since then, markets moved really heavily against them and on to Duquesne. So we have Duquesne opening up at 1.5, now at 3.5 at Pinnacle. Let's compare that to Bet Online. Bet Online 1.5 and 3. And Bet Online did the same thing though. So Bet Online moved towards DePaul. DePaul was a pick'em an hour and a half into opening this line. So interesting. So first action was on DePaul, and then it's just all been Duquesne since then. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. We have 1,368 tickets in. 39% of the tickets are on Duquesne and 90% of the cash. Clearly, somebody made a big bet on Duquesne that made the books very nervous that they'd probably lined it wrong. 33% of tickets and 49% of cash is on the over. 33 and 49. And this total opened up at 148 at Pinnacle, is at 148. Did go up to 149.5 at one point. And then here at Bet Online, the total opened up at 149.5, and they've dropped it to 147.5. Interesting. So they've dropped it. Pinnacle has, or just at 148, but you sit down there. So similar. Okay. DePaul comes in off their third win in 4 games, 91-70 at home over UTEP as 6-point favorites on Saturday. Duquesne comes in here off their second straight loss, 73-60 at home to New Mexico State as 5.5-point favorites on Sunday. It was a pretty ugly performance at home, and now they have another game here at home. Take it away for us. DabyCab, DePaul, Duquesne.
So just to say here, because this is another one, this is a tough one, and I'm going to get right into that. But, we've got conference play right around the corner. This is about to heat up. And this is one of those ones where a couple of these games I was so close to pulling the trigger on. And you said it on our last game. Why? We don't have to. We don't have to force it. We've got a long season. DePaul has no defense. They're giving up 75 points per game right now. They're getting out rebounded every single game. What they do well is they shoot from deep. They're averaging 9.5 threes per game. But like I said, they've just sucked on the glass. The Dukes here, they're averaging 76 points per game. They're shooting under 45% from the field, under 37% from three. So they struggle on offense. I'd give the offensive advantage to DePaul in this game, especially because the Dukes haven't played anyone. They're sitting at 287 strength of schedule right now, and that bothers me. I don't like backing. That's why Missouri was such an easy fade for me with Kansas this weekend, is because they hadn't played anyone. I didn't care that they're 9-0. They didn't fucking beat anybody. It doesn't matter. And that's the same thing with this Dukes team here. They got to show me something first, but I'm not ready to get behind DePaul. Their defense and on the boards, they've just been too bad, man. And those are some of the things that I need to see. So all that being said, I do kind of lean on DePaul here. I just can't get behind them yet.
Yeah, I mean, this the market move alone would keep me off having anything to do with DePaul here. Let's just take a look at. So they've had 3 road games so far this year. DePaul. Let's pull them up here and take a look. Duquesne spent almost all of this year playing, at the Fieldhouse. So DePaul beat Minnesota 69-53 early in the year. That's not saying much. We know Minnesota's trash. They beat Loyola Chicago 78-72. And then we smash and grabbed with St. John's. And that was a show we did together when we were on St. John's. We only bet first half, but we could have easily doubled up. They won. St. John's won by 19. So then they bounce back at home versus UTEP, and then they go back on the road. They have 3 games here on the road. Duquesne here, then Northwestern, and then Creighton. So they have a tough schedule ahead. I wonder if this has moved too much. I guess what would I get right now if I moved on it? I guess I would get the 3.5. Seems like a little much, but I'm with Ramon. You have to respect this big move. 3 for Duquesne. Bounce back spot for Duquesne at home. Let's just see one final thing here. Let's just see how many fans they had last game against the New Mexico State.
I should have done a deeper dig into their perimeter defense for you here on this one. Let me see if I can pull that up really quick. Because like I said, DePaul lives and dies from the 3. They live and die from deep. So let me look into the Duke's perimeter defense for you.
Pimp slap play of the day is DePaul plus 3.5. Wow. That's wow. That okay. Well, then that'll stop me in my tracks. Then.
Yeah. Okay.
That'll stop me in my tracks. You can, but feel free to grab that information. Control Your Vessel says Duquesne don't draw. Yeah, 1,800 were there. 1,834. The Fieldhouse holds 3,500. Okay, let's move on. Next up for us, 7 p.m. Eastern, South Carolina Gamecocks, 5-4, 1-1 on the road at the UAB Blazers. We're in Birmingham, Alabama for this. Blazers 5-0 at home. Let's take a look at the line history for this one. Move over here. And we did talk about the cash flow. I must have talked about the cash flow for that Duquesne game, right? Did I? Why do I feel like I don't remember looking at it? It just. Oh yeah, 39 and 90, of course. Yeah. Okay. So then South Carolina UAB. UAB opening up as 15.5 point favorites. They got up to 16.5, but they're sitting at 16 right now. Let's see if BetOnline is the same action there. BetOnline opened them at 16 and they're at 16. So no movement for BetOnline. A little bit of movement for Penny. From a total perspective, it opened up at 144.5, now at 143.5. And BetOnline doing the 144 and 144. Okay, so Pinnacle getting their lines out a little earlier than they did last year. So not big changes there. Take a look at the cash flow for this one. UAB, let's get this up here. Where the hell is it? Come on, UAB, show your fucking face. Sorry, I get so okay. Here we go. No, that's God, I hate. Here we go. 1,368 tickets in. 60% of the tickets and 87% of cash on UAB. Then 67% of tickets and 76% of cash on the over. South Carolina comes in off its second straight win in third and four games, but it was a 68-57 win at home over Presbyterian as 9-point favorites on Sunday. UAB just had their 6-game winning streak snapped in an 81-70 loss at West Virginia on Saturday as 6-point dogs. This is a good basketball team ready to fire here, but this is a big spread. What are your thoughts here, DabyCab, South Carolina, UAB?
You finished it with the right thing. It's a large fucking number right there at -16. UAB's been outstanding, averaging 88 points per game. They're holding opponents to under 70, shooting 49% from the floor, which is also outstanding. Davis off the bench for this team. He had 19 points against West Virginia in that loss, so that was impressive. He's looked really good. South Carolina, for the most part, has just really struggled. And like I said, UAB scores so many points every game. They're just under 88 points per game. That's fourth in the country right now. I think 16 might be too many. All this being said, UAB is the better basketball team. UAB wins this game. Do they cover 16 points, though? I don't know, man. It's a lot of fucking points there. I could only play South Carolina here. This is another one of those games that's tough. UAB also forces a lot of turnovers. They're forcing 16 turnovers per game here. South Carolina, they do have 2 wins over Power 5 conferences teams already this season. So they do have 2 decent wins. I'm not saying they were good teams. I'm just saying they do have 2 good wins. 16 points should be too many points here. I might bet South Carolina, but I'm not doing it.
UAB is probably an angry group, after that loss, snapping their winning streak. And there's no shame in losing at West Virginia, which is, what they did. I'd like to see what South Carolina has done in these 2 road games here before we move past this. South Carolina lost by 24 to George Washington and then beat Georgetown by 3. All right. I think UAB comes out firing, but even that first half is going to be expensive. That first half's -9. God, again, I think it's probably too much, but I'm going to put, just to ensure,
What would you want it at? -6.5? I mean, to me, if I'm betting it, I'm betting the first half. I think they could easily be up by 10, 12, maybe even 15 points at half, but I'd be worried South Carolina backdoor covers the 16.
Yeah, we can circle back if there's not enough action. Let's move on to the next spot, playing in a neutral court. Ohio Bobcats versus Florida Gators. Bobcats 5-4, Gators 6-4, playing at Amalie Arena here tonight. Let's take a look at the line history here for Ohio, Florida. Move over here. We have let's pull this up. Here we go. Florida opening up as 12.5-point favorites. They're now 13-point favorites. See if BetOnline did the same thing. Yes, 12.5 and 13, so no difference there. And from a total perspective, this opened up at 144.5 and is down to 142.5 in the neutral site. Let's take a look at where the cash lies for this one. 1,977 tickets in, 58% of tickets, 62% of cash on Ohio. No moving there. 33% of the tickets and 59% of the cash on the under. Big bets have come in on the under. By the way, Rod Zawacki loving UAB in that spot. Says love UAB by 20+.
That's enough to keep me off it, too. That's what I'm saying. Some of these games today are tight, man. Some of them are tight, but conference is right around the corner. Like we're right around the corner for the big part of the season to kick off.
UAB by 20+, says Rod Zawacki. Mike M says, I think Ohio gets run out the gym tonight. Ohio comes in off their 4th win in 5 games, 81-79 at Youngstown State on Sunday as 4-point dogs. Now they head into Tampa for this one. Florida had their 2-game winning streak snapped in a 75-54 home loss to UConn last Wednesday. There's a similar thing here. It's even more extreme with Florida. UConn is a hell of a basketball team.
So
and
good.
They came in and they smashed the Florida Gators in the mouth. And the Florida Gators, that was a week ago. We're talking 7 days ago. They've been sitting on this loss. And UAB had a similar thing. They had their winning streak snapped in the loss at West Virginia, but it wasn't nearly as bad. I think that Micah might be onto something. Florida Gators, this is an angry team that could take it out on Ohio right off the hop. See what Johnny Guns has to say. He says Florida first half, money on Ohio, but line isn't moving. I'm starting to feel that is a good idea. Let's hear what DabyCab has to say. Take it away, Ohio, Florida.
Let me just I'll come back to the numbers, but let me jump into y'all's narrative right there too. At home, Florida is averaging over 80 points per game, making 48% from the field. And on the flip side, Ohio has struggled bad on the road. Just a little over 71 points per game, making 43%. And also, Florida has been holding opponents to under 65 points per game at home. I like Florida here also. Florida, Alex Fudge and Riley Keegle have done great for them. Like I said, they're on the season, they're only allowing 69.6 points per game. And at home, they're only allowing 65 points per game. They're averaging 78.3 for the season, but at home, they're scoring more than 80 points per game. I think this could be a smash spot for Florida also. I like Florida here. Florida first half also.
Yeah, I agree. Are we going to make this official for you?
Yeah, sure. I'll go with Florida first half here.
Florida first half. I'm gonna run with this. I love a team that's been sitting in the anger for a week. It's just it's a great angle,
especially at home.
Well, it's not quite home, right? We're at Amalie Arena in Tampa.
I mean, home state. They're not traveling like Ohio is.
For real. No, that's for real. Okay, so let's go to the first half here for us. Florida, we can get you -7.5 at -102. Florida first half -7.5 at -102. And I'm going to put a bunch of asterisks. This will be on my card. Florida first half will be on my card. All right, let's move on. Next up for us, 7 p.m. Eastern, App State Mountaineers, 6-4, 2-1 on the road at Wake Forest Demon Deacons, 7-3, undefeated at Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Winston-Salem. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have Wake opening up at -12.5. This got down to 11.5. There was a little bit of buyback. It's sitting at 12. From a total perspective, it opened up at 141 and it's going up. It's now at 141.5, heavily juiced, but it was at 142.5. So there has been a little bit of buyback there as well. Let's take a look at the cash for this one. And where the hell's Wake? Give me here we go. Just 506 tickets in, no help here. 55% of tickets on Wake Forest, so we're not going to get any help there. App State snapped their 2-game losing streak by beating up on Div 2 Carlisle University, 103-43 at home 8 days ago on Tuesday, December 6th. So lose a couple games, beat up on a Div 2 team, and have not played in 8 days. Wake Forest comes in off their second straight loss, 72-70 at home to LSU on Saturday as 1.5-point favorites. So why did I say no? That must have been at LSU. Sorry, that doesn't make sense with my notes. Let me just verify that here. That's because they're 5-0 at home, so that could not have been at home. Just give me a second to. This is crucial for the cap. Must have been maybe. Yeah, it says it was at home. Was that at a neutral site? How could they be 5-0 at home? I must. Yes, it was a neutral. It was a holiday hoops giving tournament in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, so take it away for us here, DabyCab, App State, Wake Forest.
Anybody who's followed me knows I like this Wake Forest team. I've bet them a lot the last two seasons. Right now they're averaging 77.7 points per game, led by Tyree Appleby. He's that guy. Tyree Appleby is fun to watch play. Last game he had 26 points, 6 assists. He makes the offense flow. He's just a lot of fun to watch play. They're only allowing 70.3, which is pretty good. But at home, this team's scoring more than 84 points per game at home, making 48%. App State's barely scoring more than 65 points per game on the road. This is kind of like that Florida game where it just lines up for me. Like App State on the road has just struggled bad, and Wake Forest at home, I just don't see how App State's going to keep up with the firepower. App State's only averaging 68.1 points per game. CJ Huntley leads them. He's their leading scorer, and he's only averaging 12 points per game with 8 rebounds, so he's a big guy. But Yeah, this App State team is very underwhelming. Wake Forest first half here might be a smash spot, just like Florida was.
Yeah, it's an interesting take.
Neutral site here. This is a neutral site.
No, they're saying that the game that I was trying to find out was the home game was neutral site. That game against game against LSU was in that.
Oh, okay. I was about to say I didn't cap this as neutral.
Yeah, no, this is Winston-Salem. Yeah, and also App State coming off that Div 2 game, haven't played in 8 days. This is a dangerous spot for them to get run out early.
Yep.
And
Wake Forest is not happy about what happened with LSU.
I'm very interested in the Wake Forest first half line. All right. I'm very interested, and I think it's a good look. Did you want to make that official, or are you holding on?
I'll go with that one also. I'll take Wake Forest first half.
All right,
I'll probably have 3 official bets today because I already know for sure one that I'm making.
Wake Forest first half here. Let's get you this Wake Forest first half. It's there was slight movement on the full game towards App State. Actually, Bookmaker and BetCris just moved it. They just moved it, and Pinnacle just added juice to app. So they just moved it to 6.5. So we're gonna give you that first half minus 6.5. First half. So let's go Cab Wake Forest first half minus 6.5 at minus 110. Trinelius Coleman also looking at Wake Forest first half. All right, let's move on. Our guy Trinelius already gave us a look here on this game. UCF first half. I believe our guy Trinelius gave us UCF first half plus 3.5. So let's talk about it. 7-2 UCF playing their first road game of the season, real road game at Ole Miss Rebels. 7-2 undefeated at Ole Miss Oxford, Mississippi at the Sandy and John Black Pavilion. Let's take a look at the line history here for UCF Ole Miss and see what we are dealing with. We have Ole Miss opening up as 5-point favorites. They're now 6.5-point favorites. So big move towards them. Total wise, this opened up at 128. It's now at 130. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this Ole Miss spot. Come on, where is it? Here we go. 1,875 tickets in for this one. 41% of the tickets and 91% of the cash on UCF, and the market moving towards Ole Miss. It's strange. 77% tickets, 80% cash on the under, and the market moving towards the over. Lee Davis in the house. Great to see you, Lee. Lee Davis is on the under here in UCF Ole Miss. Wow. So
that market is enough to knock me off this game without question. With what you just said, I'm not betting this game. I'm going to still break it down, but what you just said is going to keep me off of it.
Why would they be climbing? Why would it be climbing? The very first move was towards the under. So this line came out of Bet Online yesterday at 130. At 440, it dropped a full point to 127.5, and it didn't come back until tonight and this morning. That's very strange. This is adds a element. I know we've had great success fading these teams on their first road game of the year. UCF comes off their second straight win, and it was a smash and grab, 75-49 at home versus Tarleton on Sunday as 8.5-point favorites. And then they hit the road. Ole Miss had their 2-game losing streak snapped with a home beatdown of Valparaiso on Saturday as 15-point favorites to beat them 98-61. Take it away for us here at DabyCab, UCF Ole Miss.
So the under, like the reason, people like it, and then I guess it's going against it with the market, but the reason the number's so low, I will say, UCF's defense has been outstanding. Their offense has not been that great, only putting up 71.7 points per game, but on defense, they're ranking 24th, only allowing 60.3 points per game. And defense travels. We might worry about how somebody's going to shoot, on the road, but the one thing that travels is defense. Defense travels. It's the same with football, same in basketball. Defense travels. Tyler Hendricks leads this UCF team. He's putting up 15.6 points per game. It's pretty good. They're only shooting 43.6% from the field and 36.7% from deep. On the other side, Ole Miss also struggles on offense, only putting up 72.5 points per game, but they are 57th in scoring defense, and they're only allowing 63.2 points per game. So both of these teams lock down on defense. Ole Miss only shoots 33.1% from deep. Both these teams suck at the free throw line. They're not making their fucking charity points. Like I said, this is going to be a tough cap because of what you said with the market. I'm off this game. I mean, I think Ole Miss wins. I think 6 might be too many points, and I don't know. And I wouldn't be surprised if UCF did win it. I'm just completely off. I lean under maybe, but I'm off.
Razor saying that Circa opened this up at 126.5, now sitting at 130.
Yeah.
Wow. That's there's too many moving parts in this one. So let's move on. Let's move on to the big game on the board tonight. 9 p.m. Eastern, number 16th ranked UCLA Bruins 8-2, 1-0 on the road. At the number 20th ranked Maryland Terrapins 8-2, 5-0 at home at the Xfinity Center in College Park, Maryland. This is a big one. We'll start with the line history here in this one. Nice test for UCLA here on the road, but the market has moved towards Maryland. Maryland opening up as a 1-point dog, now 1.5-point favorites. Take a look at the money line, maybe to give a better example. Just a 6-cent move, 6 cents of movement. Interesting. Okay, so from a total perspective, opened up at 140.5, got up to 153. There was some buyback. It's sitting at 142. Then cash-wise here for UCLA, Maryland, we have 6,083 tickets in. Maryland's been given a sliver of line value here. Of the games we've talked about so far, Duquesne had a more than a sliver, but those are the only ones with a line value. But here we have line value with Maryland, a sliver. 52% of tickets and 84% of the cash on Maryland. Then it's 50-50 on the total, but 82% of cash is on the over, and we've seen it go up a little bit. UCLA comes in off their 5th straight win, 87-64 at home versus Denver. It was on Saturday night. They were 26.5-point favorites. Maryland has 2 tough losses in a row right now. They followed that tough 64-59 loss at Wisconsin by losing 56-53 at home to Tennessee as 5.5-point dogs. You have to think playing Wisconsin and Tennessee will help Maryland here against UCLA, who's coming off a walk in the park against Denver. Fowlish Hound in the house. Great to see you, Fowlish Hound. DabyCab, the big game on the board tonight, UCLA, Maryland. Take it away.
Man, this game, I'm excited for it, and I've already bet it. So I'm gonna let you know what I bet. We're gonna do it because that's how I operate. I don't keep things back. I knew that everyone was going to be on Maryland. I knew the market would be on Maryland. I knew that the people would be on Maryland, and there's a reason for that. Maryland's 21st in 2-point offense. They score in the paint. And then you look at UCLA, their biggest problem is they've been dominated in the paint, ranking 259th in 2-point defense. So they can't fucking stop people in the paint. That's their problem. UCLA, you know, they had the loss against Illinois. They had the loss against Baylor. They played Baylor close. What they do have is they have five players on this team averaging over 9.9 points or more. The 16th rated offense in the country. I bet UCLA against my cap here. I took UCLA first half plus a half a point because I think Maryland has been overhyped by what they did early in the season. And I think that they're a good basketball team, but they are not on the level of UCLA. And simply because of that fact, I bet UCLA, and I might fucking regret it here because everything leans towards Maryland. My cap does, the numbers do, everybody else does, and I'm on UCLA here. I don't have a better explanation for it. Sometimes I go with my gut when I bet, and that's what I did here.
Do you want the point, the +1?
I absolutely will take that point.
+1 at -112 for DabyCab on UCLA first half +1.
I think UCLA is just a better basketball team. I think UCLA is a team that has all of the parts to make a run in this tournament this year. They just have to come together, which they haven't done yet. And again, in the paint, the reason why I feel like anybody who caps this, they're going to see what Maryland's done in the paint and what UCLA has done in the paint, and it's going to be an easy all over Maryland. But no, UCLA is still a better basketball team for me, so I'm going with UCLA here.
Wow. Huh. Wow. And then that, because they're undefeated at home, so that loss at Tennessee must have been at a neutral site. Let's just go to it right now very quickly here. lost to Tennessee here was at, so they lose at Wisconsin. Then there was a Hall of Fame Invitational in Brooklyn that they lost 56-53. I mean, Tennessee was up 34-17 in the first half of that game, and then Maryland battled back. Wine Time says UCLA has so much talent, just hope they can put it all together. And Klay Thompson out tonight for Golden State. Ooh, wow. Noli knows, like in the under in this spot, Trinelius Coleman on Maryland's first half. Damn, I guess your cap.
I know. I'm sorry. I just have to be honest. It's all I could do.
No, of course. Of course. Huh. I guess that's going to hold me off of this spot. Noli knows looking at the under in this one. Big bets have come in on the over, and Noli loves that. Like, he does, that gives him no fear. If his cap has it one way, then wow. Okay. Well, I was thinking that Maryland was in a nice spot. You know, you lose at Wisconsin, you lose in Brooklyn to Tennessee, both by very tight games. Now you get to come home against a UCLA team that just whacks Denver, and gives a fuck about Denver. But that's going to
everything leads to Maryland here. Everything in my cap does. And I told myself, like, this is just one. Yesterday I stayed off Memphis against Alabama, and I've been kicking myself since it, because, and this is kind of, my cap was kind of like that. It's just, I have to go with, I can't go against myself here. So I'm with UCLA.
all right. Well, it's going to take more time. Let's move on to a game that I really wanted to talk about. 9 p.m. Eastern, the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, 8-1, 2-0 on the road at the Louisville Cardinal, 0-9, 0-5 at home. We're at the KFC Yum Center in Louisville, Kentucky. Man, this is some crazy shit going on in Louisville. And Sports Insights has given Louisville some legitimate line value here, if anyone wants to trust that shit. Louisville opening up plus 6.5, but that was at plus money. Now at plus 7.5. They got up to 8. They got up to 8, and it was deemed too high. From a totals let me move this over. From a totals perspective, we have it opening up at 134, and that's where it is right now. It did go down to 132, but it's back right at 134. Don Play looking at Louisville. Coin says, the question mark is, does Louisville get off the deck tonight? Ramon Scott calling them LOL. LO Louisville. And I get it. It's been a atrocious year for them. 2,331 tickets in, 87% of the tickets and 96% of the cash is on Western Kentucky. We don't have information on the total. Robert Franklin like Western Kentucky here by 12. Western Kentucky comes in off their 5th straight win, 64-60 at home over Wright State on Saturday's 8-point favorites. Davy and McKnight went for 32. Louisville comes in off their 9th straight loss, so it was an ugly one. 75-53 at Florida State on Saturday's 9-point dogs. Everything's falling apart for Kenny Payne and his squad. They lose by 27 points at home to Miami, and they lose then, of course, by 22 at Florida State. Florida State had one win going into that game. They've now lost 6 straight games by at least 19 points. Their average margin of defeat against power conference teams is 25.2 points. They have the longest losing streak to start a season in ACC history. They're 2 games away from tying the program's worst start that happened back in 1940-41. They have more 25-point losses than in any season in program history. They're only 9 games in. They're only the second major conference team in the past 40 years to start a season with 7 straight losses. Only 2 in Florida. Only 1 before this. They are ranked 360th out of 363 teams in NCAA's net rankings. And here's the big one. If they lose to Western Kentucky here, they get Florida A&M at home on Saturday. And Florida A&M Rattlers haven't won a Division I game this year. So it does take away a bit of the importance to win here, because you know the streak will end against the Rattlers of Florida A&M. Take it away for us here. Western Kentucky, Louisville. Floor is yours, DabyCab.
Okay, so first off, I'll give the only advantages that Louisville has, and we'll get those out of the way. They're at home, okay? I guess that's maybe an advantage at this point in time. And they have a size advantage, okay? And, Louisville has rebounded all right. That's just probably because they miss a shit ton of shots, to be honest. On the other side, Western Kentucky has the 292nd hardest schedule right now. They haven't really played anyone. Their best win came against Tulane, right before, I think that was right before Thanksgiving. And that, that's a good win for them. I'm not trying to take anything away from them. But for me here, it's like, what is Vegas doing, man? Why is Louisville still like, it's every game scares me, and I should just be fading the fuck out of this team. They're 0-9 against the spread also. Like, we talk about their record. Let's talk about against the spread. They haven't covered yet. They haven't got close. They're terrible. I would only look Western Kentucky, obviously, here, and I haven't bet it, and I don't know why. I don't know what's keeping me going against this team. It seems like, I don't know. I feel like I'm getting baited into bet Western Kentucky here, which sounds really weird.
Ramon says fans have been booing the Cards. A lot of the opposing coaches have been talking about how it's just empty. Well, I mean, it's a 22,000 seat arena, so you get 11,000 people in there, like they did for the Miami game, and you can't hear any noise. Can't hear. It's just it's a bad vibe.
It's embarrassing to be there.
Mike, I'm looking at Western Kentucky first half, and Jake Burns saying, yeah, against Florida A&M they get their win. Wow. So are you going to move on Western Kentucky?
No, I'm not betting them here. I'm not. No. You can, though.
Thank you. I don't I don't want Western Kentucky first half -4, but you're right, their strength of schedule has been so weak. I'd love to come in here and say, it's gone on, this losing's gone on too far and they're going to turn it around, but look at the numbers on Western Kentucky. 87% of tickets, 96% of cash. Christopher Clementine saying, how are they this bad?
It's embarrassing. It's a joke. It's comedy. I don't know.
Rod Zawacki, though, says he will hold his nose and take Louisville +7.5.
Every dog has its day.
Yeah, this is wild. And from a total perspective, there's been no movement on the 134, and we have, no information on it, which is part of the reason why I guess there's been no movement. Jansen, what's up, my man? I hope you're good. Nice to see you. Wow. Okay. I do not want to jump on Western Kentucky, but fuck it. Let's just move on. Let's move past that shit game. I thought that was going to be more fun. All right, 10 p.m. Eastern, New Mexico State Aggies 5-3, 1-2 on the road. Here are the late games for us, everyone. So this is 10 p.m. The one after this is 11 p.m. So our late night DGen specials here. The Aggies 5-3, 1-2 on the road at St. Mary's Gales, 8-3, 6-1 at home. We're at University Credit Union Pavilion, Moraga, California. We'll take a look at the line history here for this one. We have over here New Mexico State opening up as 13.5-point dogs. It's moved to 12-point dogs right now. From a total perspective, it opened up at 129.5. It just dropped a point to 128.5. Then we'll go over to the cash flow for this one. 963 tickets in, 60% of tickets, 91% of cash on New Mexico State. They come in off their third win in 4 games, 73-60 at Duquesne on Sunday. So they've come, they've gone from Pittsburgh to California, in the beginning of this week. Probably not a helpful thing for them. St. Mary's has followed up their 3-game losing streak with 2 straight wins. Most recently, they beat Sandy. Was that? Is that right? 60-81. I feel like that just doesn't feel right. Let me just double check that. But they were. It was in the Footprint Center in Phoenix, so it wasn't a legit road game. Let me just move over here and get this up here quickly. But they followed up an important stretch with 2 straight wins, and they needed them badly. They'd lost 3 straight, and they were looking really bad, and they turned it around in these last 2 games. I just want to pull it up, make sure that number is right that I have here. So let's just take a second here. St. Mary's now 6-1 at home, and yes, 68-61. Yeah, so I had my number's wrong. 68-61 versus San Diego State at the Footprint Center in Phoenix. And that came on the heels of beating Missouri State by 20 points. Take it away for us here, DabyCab, New Mexico State, St. Mary's.
Yeah, for sure. And we can't go without saying it. New Mexico State, they lost Mike Peake. He's suspended indefinitely for the shooting on campus. Like, what the fuck? You know, I don't have all the details on it, but yeah, he's not going to be there. This team, with all the traveling too, I don't know. St. Mary's is a well-coached, a hard-playing team. 7th adjusted defense, 67th adjusted offense. New Mexico is very one-dimensional. They live and die from the deep ball. They shoot 41% from 3. And they are going to want to shoot from the perimeter tonight, and I think that's going to be a problem. I know that's their strength, but I think if you're a one-dimensional team against St. Mary's, I think St. Mary's is going to figure that out and shut you down. I could only play St. Mary's here. With all that being said, like I said, they're hands down the better team, and if they're able to neutralize New Mexico State perimeter shooting, then this is going to be a lopsided game, St. Mary's way. I haven't bet it yet. This is one that I've got a long time to look over this because it's one of the later games, and if I do bet it, I'll make sure I tag you because I might take St. Mary's here, and I might just go first half with them too.
What the Aggies don't want to do is go home. They want to stay on this road trip for the rest of their lives. It's a fucking mess at home right now. And, you know, they're worried. The coaches, players are still worried about retaliation. They're legitimately worried about more fucking nonsense. It's a fucked up situation.
And it's really hard to get kids to focus on games when you got shit like that going on.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. No, you're right. And Bo Jackson says they suspended the Pacers game, Pacers versus Warriors game. Pacers were plus money. So this one is tricky. Ramon's saying that there's money coming in on St. Mary's right now. At this point, though, 61% of the tickets and 93% of the cash is on New Mexico State. But this is a tough travel trip. I think there's a lot of different things going on that are tricky and uncomfortable. I'd be interested to see what happens as line movement as we have more cash coming in. But I initially thought that I wanted St. Mary's, but I don't want to go up against all these big bets on the Aggies. But I don't like the travel situation for the Aggies. All right, let's talk about the last game on the board here and then do a review and maybe lock in a couple of those questionables. Long Beach State Beach. Long Beach in the house. Noli knows. DJ Big Boss. Long Beach in action here. 4-5, 1-3 on the road to the USC Trojans. 7-3, 5-1 at home. And Rod Zawacki is on St. Mary's minus 19.5 at plus 230.
Oh, I like it. I like that. If you're going to bet it, just go with that. Shit.
Wow. Ramon Scott says Gales just got the steam play treatment on Dom Best. Wow. Johnny Gunn says he went to New Mexico State and says the players they recruit always seem to find themselves in trouble. Multiple brawls at house parties. Well, King Al, I don't want anything to do with the Flames, especially if Lindholm's out. I'm leaning towards maybe making a move on the Canucks, but I'm going to wait. Long Beach comes in off their second straight loss, 3rd and 4 games, 76-74 at Sacramento on Saturday is 1.5-point favorites. Now they head over to USC, who comes in off their 3rd straight win, 64-50. Home last Wednesday is 14.5-point favorites. Let's pull this up and pull up the line history here for this one. Last game on the card, 11 p.m. Eastern. So this is the late game, and it's going to be a fun one. Pull this up. So USC opening up here as 11.5-point favorites. They've taken 8 cents of juice. From a total perspective, it opened up at 143 and it shot all the way up to 146. 146. And then let me just pull this up here. Sorry, take 1 second. The USC win that they're just coming off of, here we go, was against Fullerton. They beat Oregon State by a point. took out California by 15. We've seen how bad California is. And that came on the heels of 2 losses. They lost to Tennessee and to Wisconsin. So take a look at the cash flow for this one. We've had 8 cents of movement, but 30% of the tickets and 61% of the cash is on Long Beach in this spot. Take it away for us here, DabyCab. Last game on the board, Long Beach, USC.
That's interesting for me. Long Beach right here. Both these teams, if you want to look at rankings, right? NCAA net rankings has them pretty close. Long Beach State 169, 154 for KenPom. Long Beach State, they're scoring 101.4 points per 100 possession. That's good for 199th in the nation on 46.3% shooting. But they're only shooting 29.5% from beyond the arc. Okay, so this is where what I'm getting into right now is where I think we're going to find a big discrepancy in this game. They're only shooting 29.5 from beyond the arc, which is 327th in the nation. They only make 4.2 threes per game. That's horrible. When you look on the flip side, USC in the paint, they're going to dominate Long Beach State. The only way Long Beach State's in this game is that they're able to shoot from the outside, because in the interior, USC should dominate this game. And like I just said, Long Beach State can't shoot threes. So for me, this is USC or pass here. I don't see, they're not going to dominate the paint. It's not going to happen. And I don't see them all of a sudden here on this travel spot getting hot from 3. It's just, I don't see any way you look anywhere but USC.
Third straight road game for Long Beach. They haven't gone very well. And we cashed on Oregon State in that spot, didn't we? Wasn't that the one where we were on Oregon State as... No, that wasn't. They beat Oregon State by 1 point at home as 13.5-point favorites. And nobody's going to these games. No one's going to these games. And now it's, the students are all heading home, I wonder if it's just a sleepy environment where USC doesn't care and Long Beach cares very, very much. That's my concern here.
USC is not one of my teams that I know it's weird, but they're not bet on for me. I capped this towards them, but I'm not betting it. So my money's not where my mouth is on this one.
I think that we'll get a better number from Long Beach as well. I think we'll get a better number. It's already juiced here. I wonder if we sit back and wait. I have a feeling that Long Beach can stick around in this game against a team that could possibly be mailing this in. Let's just look at all the different books here and see if there are 12s now. Yeah, there's 12s. There's 12s at a bunch of books. I'd like to see what happens with this market. I have some interest in Long Beach. Clearly, there's sharp action on them. But the public's all over USC. 70% of the tickets that are coming in are on USC. And we have a half-point move, so maybe there should be some trepidation. I'm going to wait on this, but I have interest in Long Beach tonight. And I'm just going to sit back and see what happens with the cash flow for this one. Mike M saying, I think this number is a little too high. All right, let's review all NCAA action here for Dabby and myself. And Dabby will be back in action again with us tomorrow. So let's go. I have some interest in La Tech, but it's full of question marks right now. I thought I was going to have more. I thought I was going to be all over some of these late games. The Sharps are on SFA here, and I'm not going to get in the way of it. It's just there's too much too many big bets coming in on Stephen F. Austin, even though I think this is a get-right situation for Louisiana Tech. But DePaul, Duquesne, no action. UAB first half -9. I wonder if that makes my card because Cab's on Florida first half -7.5. I'm going to move on that. Cab's on Wake Forest first half -6.5. I'm going to move on that. Cab's on UCLA first half +1 at -112. And that's it for our action. And I understand that often some of these big favorites look good here first half wise. I don't know if I want to hold on to all of that. I'm interested in UAB first half, and I'm interested in Long Beach as a dog. So, but I think I could get a better number if the public is going to keep coming in and hammering USC. So that's the plan. That is the plan. Jansen's going to go something small, Western Kentucky, stay on the fade Louisville train. And Dabby and I will be back in business again tomorrow. So Dabby's got UCLA first half +1. That threw me for a loop. I was expecting to be on Maryland, which I won't be.
I don't want to keep you off it, man. I told you my cap said Maryland. It does. This is just one of those weird spots where I have to go with what I feel deep down in my stomach.
No, that's fine. This is what these shows are all about. And look at our, ROI in college basketball. So let's just keep doing what we're doing and trusting everything. So Cavs moved on 3 spots. UCLA first half +1, Wake Forest first half -6.5, and Florida first half -7.5. Follow our man Dabra Kadabra. Follow him on Twitter at DabyCab. And do we have more information on the big Christmas show for you guys?
Yeah. Okay. And shout out Miss Hound. She's in the chat with us. She will be doing it with us. She will be a huge part of it. Not only that, Delusional Eats will be doing a badass giveaway to somebody in the chat. So if you guys are there, somebody's getting their Christmas made. It's going to be a care package with the Delusional Eats edibles. And if you know, because they're top notch. But it'll be the 23rd, Jimmy. We're going to be doing it on the 23rd. It'll just be a one-day special thing. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're putting a lot of moving parts together right now for it. So it's going to be exciting. It'll be me, Dutch, D-Lou, Miss Hound. Razor, I think, might be stopping by with us, and hopefully some other people. I know Dutch asked you if you can come by. If you can, we'd love to have you.
I'd like that too. I fly to Victoria, head to the West Coast on Monday. So I'm not entirely sure what my shooting situation is going to be like. I've got to figure that out as I go. So I just can't say yes now, but I'm going to definitely try to make that happen for you guys. And I'd love to smoke a big bat with you guys. You kidding me? Fuck, man.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, yeah, man, 23rd. It's the 23rd. Be there and be looking for the giveaway. We're going to start promoting it probably on Monday, maybe Sunday. So you'll see stuff for it Monday. So make sure you at least get in for the giveaway so you can win that giveaway. I'm telling you don't want to miss that.
Oh, very much, Fowler's Hound. Very much. I partake very much. I just the thing that happened to me, like I was a very heavy smoker, and then when I was down in Costa Rica and my second year down there, I got pneumonia. It lasted for 6 months, and I had to stop smoking. And then when I came back to it, I was just got so fucked up, and so but then now with the kids around, I'm just mainly hammering edibles. That's more of my, just because I don't want to answer questions.
mean, that's their thing right there. So that works.
No, I love it. I'm very interested. Very interested. Find myself interested right away.
Hell yeah.
Swiss Horton says, would you like Swiss Chalet more if they're infused? No, I'm never going to go back. And Fowler says, I have things you can eat, save them lungs. Respect. I'm interested in DabyCab. Excellent work here. Looking forward to do this again tomorrow. We are off to a great start to the season. Let's keep these winners coming in. Good luck with your action tonight, and thank you for making time for us. Follow our guy on Twitter at DabyCab. Dabby, any last words for the Cappers supporting the show?
Man, you guys in the chat, it's all love, man. We don't have anything without you guys. I love you guys out there, man. Don Play, Fallish Hound, Mad Stoney, Swiss Horton, all you guys. I wish I could call it all, man, but it's all you guys right there. Appreciate you, Jimmy. And tomorrow, we got some good games on the card tomorrow, so I'm excited to be back.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be a big day. Thank you for joining us. There he is, DabyCab. Dabra Kadabra. Broad's wacky knows we don't go to no Swiss Chalet. Shit. We'll go to no Swiss Chalet. All right, let's review all action. I'm all over this Habs Senators game. I've just got to decide how to bet it. I want the Sens team total under 3 at that big plus price, and I want the under 6.5. And look, I don't trust Sam Montembeault, but I dare the Senators to try and keep up their offense without Stützle centering that first line with Brady Tkachuk and Claude Giroux. If you want to stunt Giroux, put him at center and give him defensive responsibilities. Ask him to win faceoffs. You want to stunt Pinto, put him up against the best defenseman on the other team. I think they're in big trouble offensively. Now, Senators have gone 6-2-1. because of their defense. I think we're going to, just like we were cashing and have been cashing the nonstop unders on the Avalanche without Nathan McKinnon, I think we could get a similar thing here with the Senators, and this will be a first opportunity. The question is, do I move on the Habs too? And I don't know if I do, but I think I'd rather just be on the team total under and the under 6.5. That would be my preference here. Then moving on to Wild minus 1.5. And I have some interest in the Canucks if Lindholm is not playing. If there's no Lindholm, there's no Tanev, and no Mackenzie Weegar, then yeah, I think the Canucks are legit at this price. But goddamn, it's just a horrific thing betting on the Canucks. They're just, and their goaltending is just such trash. Their defense is so awful. Drills on the Pistons first quarter at +1. Let's see what's happened to that now that we have LaMelo back. Let's see if that's now on the board again. See if we can get a nice juicy price on Detroit. And no, that has not changed. Maybe LaMelo is not being announced in. They did pull it for a while. That has not moved. So we're going to have to wait on that here. Then we have Warriors first quarter minus 103 for Durrell. There's Sharon in the house. What up, Sharon, my guy? Then Hawks Magic, no action. Durrell is on the Kings first quarter +2 at minus 108. He's on the Knicks first half +2.5 minus 110. That's the first. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is. I'm moving on the Bulls full game. I have interest in the Thunder. The main, I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is Blazers first half -4, which I'm interested in. I'm also interested in that first half team total over. Durrell's on the Cavs full game +2.5 minus 115. I kind of want to get in on the Cavs, but I would prefer them first quarter. I'll have to go over their first quarter numbers. Drills on the first quarter over 55.5 in Washington, Denver. I want in on that. And I think I'm going to pull the trigger on the Timberwolves, even though it's not good for your wallet. Smith Legacy, I did not cap Norfolk, so I apologize for that. Let's go out there and have ourselves a great start to the week. Thank you for joining us on Wednesday. Last week was excellent. We made a lot of money. The past 10 days have been the best 10 days I've had since the Scotty Barnes Rookie of the Year week. It was fucking glorious. And we'll pick up another 1.2 if Argentina wins. And I don't even think, I'll look at it and see who's in, but I don't even think there's any reason to hedge. You know, we've already cashed, get to the quarters, get to the semis, get to the finals. We're free rolling up a K. So let's just keep it going. It's all about what you put in. Like everything in life. It's all about the energy you put into something. That's what you're going to get out of it. And we're working our asses off and fighting the good fight and doing it together. Andrew G says Argentina will win. That's just fucking music to my ears, Andrew. And shout out to Flash. Because if they do that, then Flash just slipped 2.2K into my pocket, which I needed. North Ender, what up, my man? Great to see you. And Nasty Nate, thanking everybody who donated to his son's basketball team. We're a fam, Nate. You know how we do, my man. Respect. Nasty Nate, North Ender, Andrew G, Christopher Commentini, Chip Plylar, Smith Legacy, Sharon Pulliam, Andre, Mad Stoney, The Fowlish Hound, Dom Play, Saturated, Bo Jackson, Rod Zawacki, Swiss Horton. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Billy Friedrich, Jansen, D-Gen Dude, Nunya. We have nothing without you guys. Bananas and Grapes, Parle Angel. Now let's go out there and get that fucking... Oh, let me copy and paste Billy Friedrich's action here. For those of you watching the soccer game, enjoy it. Again, Wild Hound gave us that +700 parlay, same game parlay. But enjoy it. That's the main thing. And let's get that fucking money. Big thank you to my producer, Jose Bouquet, who does such a great job. Let's go out there and fucking eat tonight. Let's go out there and get that fucking money. Caliente la chita. Leche. Hey, los bookmakers.